Welcome along this Sunday, Racing Post Live, brought to you in conjunction with the Betfair Exchange. Here we are on Sunday. Prince Philip's funeral yesterday, of course, meant that all the ITV racing, basically, all the terrestrial, all the really top action got moved to this Sunday. Absolutely delighted to be bringing you the top Sunday service. Love good racing on a Sunday. This global pandemic all over the world. We saw some great Sundays in 2020, didn't it? That was definitely one of the highlights that we could bring you of racing. Great to have another one. It's like a mixed card, basically. We go up to Ayr for the Scottish Grand National. That is our feature race, the 3:35. Where are you going to go in that? Keep your comments coming in to us. If you're regular viewers, you know you make the show with your interaction. If you're new, welcome along. You can get involved, of course, on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. I always say that one. That is the name of the game. And indeed, Facebook Live. Anything on Twitter. Hashtag RP Live. Join the party. Come along. Who have we got with us on the panel then? Let's go down. It's Mattie Batchelor, the lovable and popular Mattie Batchelor joins me back.
How are we, Dave?
I'm good, Batch. You?
Yeah, good.
Sunday service it is. You've dressed up for the occasion. Happy days.
As I do always. The other half's not happy. I'm not cooking the roast today.
You usually do all the cooking at home,
All the
don't you?
cooking, yeah. Missed 2 games of football.
You're
News just in, Valley Rovers are through to the next round.
Is that your team?
That's the team,
You
yeah.
never mentioned name, but you are obviously still riding Batch
Yep.
over the jumps. And but you are a keen amateur footballer, aren't you? Let people know that.
Yes, amateur being the operative word, yeah.
But you are
very enthusiastic.
Don't be so modest. You are a flying fullback, aren't you?
Yeah, flying fullback, and when I play for the older vets, I go a bit further up the pitch.
Yeah, of course. It's a great Sunday because at Wembley today, 4,000 fans go back in for the FA Cup semi-final, don't they? Leicester Southampton, isn't it?
Yep,
All
Chelsea
opening
got
up a little
through
bit.
yesterday.
The sun is out, all good. You'll be looking at Air, but you don't mind a bit of flat either.
No,
do you?
don't mind a bit of flat. I had a few spins on the flat in my time in my career, so yeah.
Happy days.
Good.
Also, TC comes back onto the panel. Tom Collins, how are you, my ace tipster friend?
Yeah, very good form. Looking forward to today's racing. We've got something for everyone, haven't we? 3 group races at Newbury. We've got big field handicap chases at Ayr. We've got runners that have just got a string of victories next to their name. 5-star Getaway, King D'Argent. So yeah,
Seeing the ball big?
of course, as always.
Happy days. You've caught the sun a little bit like me. I was in a pub garden yesterday.
Well, it hasn't taken you long to bring that one up at Dave, has it? I was in my mate's garden yesterday afternoon. It got to about 2 p.m. I was there for about an hour and they were like, "You're red. This is not good."
Here's the salmon coming out. Yeah, I was in a pub garden. Some lovely young lady came along to me. It was really embarrassing. She said, "I think you might need this." It was factor 50. All my mates said, get it on it. So anyway, listen, we're catching up, aren't we? We've got to break the seal. Who's joining us from Betfair? Let's go to Dublin. It's Darren Hughes.
Afternoon, gentlemen. How are we? Good to see you all. Glad to hear you're enjoying your freedom. We're still a few weeks away yet, but hopefully in the not too distant future we'll be able to join us.
Yeah, no suntan coming your way, Darren Hughes, is there? Let's face it.
I just don't burn, lads. I'm more used to the sun. That's all it is. I was out in the park yesterday enjoying the weather, but my skin isn't as delicate as yours, so I didn't suffer the same way.
Happy days. Great to have Darren Hughes on. He's going to be showcasing the functionality of the exchange. If you don't know about the exchange, it is the real mark. It's what the bookmakers all use. There are the graphics coming up on the screen. Okay, you can see our first race. 1 o'clock at Newbury is coming up. So Darren will be playing in every single race, giving you a trade. You can react to that if you want to get involved. If you just want to have some fun, this is the place to watch your racing. What scenes we had on Grand National Saturday. Thank you for joining that party. We broke all sorts of records on that Scottish Grand National. Cannot wait. Like I say, get your tips in. Darren, who wins the Scottish National?
Who wins the Scottish National? Never look past the Irish horse and the British handicap, lads. Mr. Fog Patches brings it home for Pat Fahey and Danny Mullins.
Oh, there you go. First blow landed across the sea. They may not have opened up, but what success they are having. Yeah, Scottish National Batch?
I really hope, I think All Right deserves it.
All Right.
Yeah, All Right, yeah. He's just been had so many near misses, and Harriet Graham would be a great day for her to finish off the season.
He hasn't won this season, has he? But the public affection team.
He likes Ayr as well.
Yeah, he's 2 from 2 at Ayr, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a consistent horse in the race who deserves a victory. I had an anti-post bet on Coupe de Pinso at 33-1. I just thought he really bounced back to form
Nick
last
Mitchell.
time. Yeah, bounced back to form at Taunton. I think the step up and trip will suit him.
Yeah, Tim Mitchell's brother, of course, does the close-ups at the post as well. Wishing them all the luck. Let's get some comments on the screen then. Who's going to open the party? Sunday service resumed. Thomas Burns comes along. Thomas, great to have you, and you are not a chance. Of course, for Alan King and Soldier of Love, who's been the buzzer in the race, Darren, hasn't it? I think. What sort of liquidity are we looking at? Early days still for the Scottish National.
For the Scottish National, we have €353,000 match. So what? 5 by 10 multiplied by 8. You're talking £320,000 or thereabouts. Mr. Fogpatch is currently trading 9.4 FAV from a high of, I think, about 15 this morning, 15.4. You have Mighty Thunder there for Finder Russell Town School 11.0, Soldier Love 10.5, I Ride 11.0. You guys mentioned there. Very competitive race, naturally speaking. So looking forward to that later on to bookend the card.
Yeah, not a chance. I can see him bouncing back. And Soldier of Love, some of our shrewd tipsters at the post have pointed the way there, and you have reacted. You're with Paul Nicholls, of course. Last one, this was Vicente, I think, didn't he? He carried a big weight. This one's got a nice weight, and he has got some decent form as well. So good luck, Thomas, with that. We must, however, look at the 1 o'clock at Newbury. Not often that we get to do maidens. A lot of them are novice stakes now, aren't they? And this is a hot affair. Let's go to Darren Hughes to see exactly where he thinks the money will be going.
Right, so myself and Tom might fall out here straight away, but I'm going to kick us off here with a lay on Darren for John Gosden and Martin Harley. Now look, laying Gosden Favs at the moment isn't exactly a profitable strategy, but I do think there are reasons to take this fella on. I think Snow Lantern, obviously very highly touted last year and in a recent Racing Post stable tour. Pedigree, very exciting. Step up to the mile looks a good idea. I think Darren might probably end up needing a little bit further. He's out to see the stars by Sadler's Wells Mares. So I think he might end up being better over a bit further than this. A lot of his siblings have proven so. So I'm happy enough to get after him, laying before the 2.6 mark to lose about 50 quid. So is it Tom, you're in the cockpit for me today, yeah?
I am indeed, yes.
Yeah, you can follow up with me afterwards if you go to...
well, that would be a current theme. That would be a current theme.
Wouldn't be unusual. So if you go to liability, Tom, and hit the circle beside liability, and then if you actually click liability there in blue, and there should be a box that will open up for you there, and you can type in how much you want your liability to be. So if you hit 50 into that and hit enter, that'll do the maths for us. So we're laying him to win about 31 quid.
OK, thank you very much, Darren Hughes. That's the Betfair trade then in the first. Taking on what I think we can say is a bit of a hot pot. And obviously, Tom, you've gone for this. He's not just falling out with you, he'll be falling out with me as well. I was a big fan of Sky Lantern, the dam of Snow Lantern. She was great, wasn't she?
Oh, brilliant.
Absolutely superb. Hannah Hughes. She was wonderful. And I loved her debut at Ascot. She had to go away from the rail, classy form. However, you look back, you can do that now in your members section. Of course, if you subscribe to our members section, you get all the replays. So important, especially at this time of the year on the flat, to be looking back. He was a massive eye catcher behind Labarossa, wasn't he? Who finished second in this week's Craven, absolutely. Yeah. And he didn't get the rub of the green that day. He finished without getting a tickle with a stick at all, and he took some pulling up as well. Now we haven't seen him since, have we? That would be perhaps the potential sticking point. I guess that Darren Hughes, who's taking him on, will be thinking, might need a little bit further. Could he be a little bit rusty? But Gosden likes this maid, and of course it's John and Thady, or Thady Gosden now, the training partnership. Great to see that, isn't it, son and father and son? But historically, this is a race they like. I think it'll take a lot of beating as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. The form just looks red hot, and before that race as well, I thought it was a good looking maiden. I was watching it on Sky Sports, and they went into the paddock and looked at every runner, and they looked a nice bunch. And Great Gaydon, who finished third, is really highly touted by Roger Varian. Obviously, Labarossa's got decent form in the book. And Derab was the one that was staying on the best. Final 3 furlong sectionals, he posted the quickest furlong between 2 furlong and 1 furlong out, and 1 furlong and the line. So the step up and trip will suit. Yes, he's related to Enable and a family full of stamina. So he's probably going to need a longer trip in time, 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles. But the step up to a mile, I think, should be enough for him today. And yes, Snow Lantern's very promising, but she takes on the boys. She also has been very buzzy at home. I've seen a few clips on Twitter of her being very headstrong.
Okay.
So I'm just worried about how keen she'll be in the race. So I just found it hard to take on Darab. But it's a very nice looking race, isn't it? A couple of newcomers in there as well.
There are. Batch, who are you going for?
I do like Darab because of the form in the week with the Craven. I would speak to Crowley a bit, Jim Crowley. And he mentioned this colt. He liked him, and he said he thinks he's got a real nice future, and he could run a nice race at a big price.
Maznoon.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's
interesting, isn't it? For Sir Michael Stout, who has great to see, actually, especially at the year Sir Michael's had. Great to see him hit the ground running. His horses have always been there or thereabouts, or they're winning, basically. So Maznoon, a big price then. A big word from Batch in the opener. Get your social comments in. Let's hear from you out there. 10 races coming your way today. Thick and fast. The action will be, but we will get your questions in for the panel. Do not worry. Where are you watching the racing? Are you in the garden? Have you got a nice glass of something? Or indeed, are you stuck on that sofa? Ooh, yesterday was a long old day in the sunshine. The pub gardens were all open. Darren Hughes not opening up so much so quickly, though, of course, in Dublin. Still no owners allowed on track. Pretty brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's unfortunate. Whatever with the pub, that's not great, I will say. But the owners, especially, the lads who kind of keep the sport going, it is unfortunate that we haven't found a way to get them back on course yet. But look, hopefully when it's a bit safer and things are looking a bit better, which is not far away. I think we're only a few weeks away, really. Like, you lads were that little bit faster with the vaccination program through the way you went about it. We're a little bit behind, but we're not a million miles behind. And hopefully, you'd say by midsummer, maybe the end of the summer, we might be able to do something for owners, getting owners back on course, and maybe a few spectators as well. So we'll see.
British leading the way in something. There you go. It's good to see it.
Makes a change, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Of course, listen, on the flat, Aidan O'Brien had a good day yesterday, didn't he? We're coming up to the Guineas. We've got classic trials today, haven't we? Of course, Fred Darling for the fillies. Who do you like in that? And then we've got, of course, the Greenham, won by lots of Frankel. Kingman won it, didn't he? So are we going to see an absolute star in that? Possibly. Got some hot favourites, TC, haven't we, in that?
Yeah, there's some hot favourites throughout the whole afternoon and jumps and flat. Darab obviously being the first one, but in the Greenham, it's a very interesting race. As you say, Frankel, Kingman, plenty of other horses. I think in the last 10 years, 6 winners of the Greenham have gone on to win a Group 1. So it's a red hot race. I think Chindit's got a great chance in the Guineas, so we'll see how it goes today.
Solid favourite for the Hannans, isn't it? It's a race they like as well. Yeah, if he comes back to his champagne form at Doncaster last year, absolutely the right fab. All right, so Darren Hughes, let's get a final market update from you. We can see it all developing in front of us on the screen. Where is Darab now, the one that you think will get sunk?
Yeah, quite strong. He's 2.48. I think we laid him there around 2.56, so he's pretty strong in the market. The real one for money has been fantastic. Foxtrot, Sylvester de Souza. From a high at 13.0, he's now around 5.5, 5.6, 5.7 even here in front of me. Snow Lantern a small bit weak. 4.9 now was matched at a low of 2.5, so that's obviously not massively promising for him. Richard Hannon has gotten off to a great start this season, but Richard Hannon has gotten off to a great start, so unusual to see how weak he is, how she is in the market. Simon and Ed Christopher's then, their unraced to lame is 8.2 from a high of 23, so another one for money here. It's been a couple of them pretty well nibbled at in the market. Maznoon, who Batch mentioned there, 24.0 for Jim Crowley and Sir Michael Stout, you'd imagine might improve the run and given where he's coming from, but interesting race ahead, I'd say.
Okay, thank you, Darren. All right then, so not too long to get involved. Maybe you're playing in running here. We'll give you a shout along the way. A lot of love for Darab in the studio, and off we go. We're off and running then. Good luck wherever you're playing in the opening race today. 1 o'clock at Newbury it is, and adopting the front-running pose at the moment. Settling nicely as well. Brian Meehan's newcomer under George Buckle. Big world ride for George this. He goes on Walls of Kano. Who's that up there with him? French Conquest as well, Clive Cox. Thankfully, they seem to be going quite a nice pace. Just in behind is Derab, a little bit keen. So, of course, is Snow Lantern as well. Looking for Fantastic Fox. Again, a little bit keen as well. What are we thinking about this, TC? Are they pulling a bit too hard, or?
I think the first furlong was pretty slow, but now they're going a steadier gallop. Snow Lantern and Darab are pulling for their heads, but nothing too extravagant at this stage. Maznoon's going nice in behind.
Hiramichi as well, one we didn't mention for Mick Shannon. Mick's had a couple of winners in the last couple of weeks, hasn't he? That's settling quite nicely at the moment. Anything catching your eye? Where's Maznoon, Batch?
Mid-division, travelling well, settled nicely, in a nice position for me, Dave.
Okay, happy days. We're around about halfway then. We're around about half. Yeah, I think we are at the halfway stage, aren't we? We look down.
Yeah, we are. Coming into the last 3.
Darren, what's been the buzzer then? Because a couple of these have pulled hard. Delma, he's a newcomer. He's coming, isn't he?
Tab's a big drift for 8.0 from a BSP at 2.6. Snow Lantern for money, just on evens in the run there. Odds on, it looks like he has the race in his grasp. He's kicked for home. It'll be very hard to catch. Gone long odds on in the run there. Ab is coming with a bit of a run, but has it all to do to catch this one in front.
We'll see then.
Fantastic miss.
Here comes Derab then. And and we've got the Fantastic Fox as well. Looks like Richard Hannon's got a really nice one here. Derab has got no answer whatsoever. He called this Darren fair play. First lay in the bag then. And it is indeed Snow Lantern. So keep wanting to call her Sky Lantern. Snow Lantern. Whoa! She looks like a cut of the old dam, doesn't she? The apple does not fall far from that tree. Derab definitely wants a bit further. I think we could say that. Just looking on the pull-up as they pull up, which is so important to do in these novice and maiden stakes. Exactly see how the horses, they take a blow, they go on with it. First 3 in the betting, all pretty simple. Before we go to TC and Batch for their thoughts then on the opener, Darren Hughes, when did they know about Snow Lantern?
Well, somebody didn't know. He had a high of 8.0 in the run at one point for about 57 quid. There was a few quid knocking around at that. He BSP'd at 5.0. As I said, he was matched 2.5 overnight, so it was a huge drifter in the last 24 hours. does just show drifters do win. It was about 11 grand match at 5.0. I suppose for the favourite, it was the story of he did pull too hard early on. Then, as you said, finished real strong. He hit a low at 2.12 in the run for small money. There was a couple of £100 done around the 11 to 8 mark, 5 to 4 mark. But I think your comments about being after the post are spot on, Dave. I remember Ruby Walsh saying one time, you get more winners looking after the winning line than you will looking before it, because you see what finishes and you see kind of what they get hard to pull up. So I think you're spot on. I think, look, that was the read I had in the race beforehand, that Darren might end up leading further in time, and I think he will be seen to better effect over maybe 10 furlongs now with another run under his belt. So.
Well done, Darren Hughes, then. Gets you off to a flyer if you were with Darren. We like Darab, of course. Maznoon, inexperienced, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, when they come off the bridle, I just think first out of school, they learn from that. The favourite for me just ran with the choke out a little bit. Wouldn't write him off too soon, but the winner, she does look very impressive.
She could be classy, TC, couldn't she? Well entered up.
Yeah, the first three home pulled about 10, 15 lengths clear of the rest of the field, so I certainly wouldn't be writing off any of the top three. It looked a pretty smart race. And yeah, Snow Lantern obviously did everything right today. She was buzzy at home, but she wasn't that buzzy in the race. No cover from the start, but travelled beautifully and quick and clear. So she has a big future. So does Darab, Fantastic Fox. Looks a nice race.
They're three good horses.
She's what? Yeah, I would agree with that, Darren. I think that was a hot maiden. So delighted to be able to bring that your way. Let's just concentrate on the winner a little bit more. What did you make of that out there? Are you tempted for the Guineas? Darren, perhaps you could get... I guess this is going to be anti-post fingers on the buzzers today, Darren, isn't it? I'll come to you in a second if you don't mind for her price for the Guineas. She's in the Oaks as well. She's by Frankel at Sky Lantern. If you don't know who Sky Lantern was, she was an absolute rocking miler, basically. You know, won the Coronation Stakes at Royal Ascot. So impressive that day. A top-notcher. And when you've got Frankel at the top line of your pedigree, we should be expecting good things in this one, shouldn't we?
Definitely, yeah. You set your sights high, really, I think.
I wonder whether they will
It's
be...
interesting how he seems to be a bit of a stamina influence. You know, for a horse that was so fast, a lot of his do seem to stay the 10 furlongs, the mile and a half. Well, now look, I know his pedigree would have just that bit of stamina, but he was obviously so fast that it's quite funny. A lot of his even stayed 2 miles, see a couple of them, but it's often when I'm looking at these Frankels now, I often think Jesus, that'll improve nearly for an extra couple of furlongs up the trip. You know, you don't see many of them at the 6 to 7 furlongs after they hit the 3 and 4 year old stage of their career.
Yeah, it'd be hard pressed to say that the second and third won't be going and winning novice stakes, I think, TC.
I mean, yeah, they're both beautifully bred as well. Darab is related to Enable, as I've mentioned, and Fantastic Fox is another son of Frankel, so 2 very lovely horses. Whether they're in the same league as Snow Lantern, giving her £5 at this stage, obviously not, but in the future they could both be group standard.
Yeah, 1 o'clock then, you saw a novice stakes. Was it novice stakes or a maiden? It wasn't maiden stakes. You could see some maidens still, isn't it? The maiden stakes, and you thought maybe a low-key start. Not a bit of it. Sizzling stuff there, I think. Horses with some big futures. Right, shall we change tack and go up to Ayr? Let's go north of the border, shall we? Here we are in the capital, filming this. If you're in Scotland, let us know. Big day up there, isn't it, of course? Ayr, owners allowed on track. Just talk to me about... getting us back on track then, guys. Well, we've got, what are we? We're about 10 minutes away from the first at Ayr. Interesting little race coming up. You can see the market there on your screen. Before we go to Darren Hughes with this, why are we having to wait till May the 17th then to get on the track? Was it someone tweeted like a full to the brim Tesco's yesterday?
Just down the road at Ayr, yeah. And they've had crowds in the Crucible.
Snooker.
Yeah. Snooker, so yeah, it's a bit of...
It's a strange one, isn't it?
Did we paying for Cheltenham a bit last year? The optics.
Probably.
Yeah.
It was the big story. Everyone outside of racing were talking about, oh, well, Cheltenham's the cause of all of this. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. And I don't know why we're not back. If they're in the Crucible, as Batch said, there's no reason.
Let's not go into last year's Cheltenham too much, but you know, it didn't look good, did it? You know,
No.
I mean, everyone was at Anfield at the same that week. They had Six Nations, they had concerts and things like that. But when you saw people spread out like that, optics are everything with this government, aren't they? So May the 17th, we're expecting Windsor that Monday night.
Windsor.
Penciled in.
Absolutely, I am booked. I cannot wait to get back there.
But I love Windsor on a Monday night.
You would think it would be fine to get some more owners on track, wouldn't you? What is it in the moment? It's 2 per horse, I think, isn't it? But if you're a big syndicate and that, you want to go, don't you?
Of course you do, yeah.
Group and all that sort of thing. Weather's there now, so it's tough at the moment still, but we're not too far away. And if you're watching in Ireland, as Darren says, we're about to turn the tide. Is exactly what we're doing here on Racing Post Live, because we're going for a jumps race. And Harry Skelton does it look like he's going to win the Jockeys Championship over Brian Hughes? Of course, they've been clashing throughout the Ayr Carnival so far. It was good to see that on the first day, wasn't it? It was either first or second. We saw it in Cheltenham in the week as well. Well, they were up against each other at the last.
What's he now? 6 clear, is he? 6
Something like that, yeah.
clear, I think, yeah.
Yeah, the bookies have got him pretty much pinned on to do it, and they're throwing the kitchen sink at it. I think we can say that. And they've got King D'Argent in the first race then, Darren. He's on a hat-trick. Is this going to be another lay?
No, but we are going to oppose. But I will just say very quickly, the winner there in Newbury, 10 from 16 for the 1,000 guineas and 20 from 33 for the Oaks. I would say that 20 is probably fair enough for all that. There probably is something lurking in the O'Brien yard that could be very strong. But that's an unupdated anti-post price for her. But yeah, moving on to Ayr, I think I'm going to take on the Fab, but I'm not going to lay him. I'm going to get after Grant Stanley here. I'm going to have a few quid on him. We'll have 50 quid win on him, please, Tom, at 4.1 or thereabouts. That's all right.
Yeah.
I just think this is a huge step up in class for King D'Argent. I mean, look, he's obviously improved hand over fist this season, but this is another step up again. I do think Grant Stanley is kind of used to running this class of race. You have even Dean Val as well, who has a pretty good record at this meet. And I think he went in one day after another a couple of years back. He ran on the Friday, then ran again on the Saturday and won. So look, I think he's a little bit short for what he's achieved, King D'Argent here. I think we can oppose him. Also likely to have a contest for the lead from return tickets, so he might just get it all his own way here. So on that balance, I'm happy to get after or to back the Betfair Master Paul Nicholas grandstands here.
The backing trip are out ground.
I think so
as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so.
Speedy type. Yeah.
So are we all opposing King D'Argent?
I think there's more to come from him. I think the step back in grandstands, it's going to be an interesting race, but I think this will take Harry 7 clear of Brian.
This has been a good race for favourites, by the way. The last 3 have copped. Of course, this meeting wasn't run in 2020, so you've got to go back to 2019, but they're all there. The Invals in there as well, who won it in 2018. Nicky Henderson got a very good record at Ayr in these type of races. Paul Nicholls as well, who's won this race before, and Dan Skelton. They'll fancy their chances. I'm not sure about tactics. We'll get to that after we get TC's tip.
I just think King D'Argent will win, but it wouldn't be a race that I would be betting in. I don't think there's much between King D'Argent and Grand Sancy, but King D'Argent is the type that just loves good ground. He's a strong traveller, high cruising speed, typical Skelton type, really. I just thought he was really impressive at Southall. 2 starts back when he beat Blacko, who I tipped next time. He travelled really nicely, Blacko, in the subsequent start, although he didn't win. I think that's pretty useful form in the stand of this race. I know he's against better horses today, but I just think he's the most likely winner. His price is a reflection of his chance. There's no value there whatsoever at 6-4.
Does he have to lead, Batch?
I don't think he has to. It suits his style of running, but say if something else goes on there, Dan sort of leaves it up to Harry, and Harry knows the sort of time of day. If there's 2 of them and taking each other on, one of them will sort of take a pull and say, right, if you want to go on. Yeah, I think he's quite versatile, D'Argent.
I think he'll need to be, because Return Ticket is a horse that has one way of running. Duke and Navan, I wouldn't be surprised. He's, of course, in discipline. A 13-year-old Duke and Navan. What a race he won at Doncaster when we last saw him. That was on this show.
He will know. Harry will look and say, look, there's a bit of pace in this race. We'll assess it over the first 2, see how they're going, and then, listen, in his eyes, he's on the best horse in the race, so you make it simple. If they're going too quick, you take a pull. So you...
With Grand Sancy with the hood on, it's all going to be about settling. And the reason why I like Grand Sancy in this race, for a lot of reasons, that Darren Hughes just gave you at the top of the preview about this. I think the drop back in trip, as Batch says, will help. I just think this is the sort of horse that Nicholls has probably had Ayr in his mind for quite some time. He was too keen, basically, at Newbury last time, in a bit of a funny run race. And I just thought if King D'Argent and Return Ticket do get on with each other, then it might suit him well, actually. So it's Grand Sancy for me as well. So it's sort of 2-way split then on the panel in the first race at Ayr. Let's get a social comment on the screen. Who's the viewer coming on now? Chris Timms, good to have you back, Chris. He says, I think the Skeltons will get another win here, along with King D'Argent. Well, you're in good company, because Mattie Batch and TC both just think this is simple. Now, Batch, I want to come to you with this. If you were chasing the title, or let's flip it. Say that you were on one and you knew that Harry was there, and you're like, I'm on the other front runner in this race. What do you do? Do you like, you're not going to have this all your own way, you know?
It's a difficult one. Listen, they're both professionals.
You talk about it in the weighing room. Do you know what I mean? Do you say, like, I don't know, because they're both...
If you
protocols at the moment, they're not as close as they were, say, in 2019.
If you was in there, yeah, you'd be given
a bit of banter.
I'd definitely be given a bit of banter.
You definitely would.
So, yeah, that's absolutely odds on, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Brian will go out there, he'll ride his own race, but obviously, if you've got an edge, if you think you've got an edge over your competitor, then you're going to use that any way possible and any means possible.
If I'm the owners of King D'Argent or indeed the owners of Return Ticket. Return Ticket, Brian Hughes, six off for Rebecca Menzies. Of course, it's a John Wade horse, isn't it? Good old John Wade. And you'll be thinking, hang on a minute, if these two take each other on, I'm going to get the lead. No, I'm going to get the lead. It's one of those, and Gronson C's sitting there with Sean Bone going, off you go, lads.
Yeah.
Spoil the party all the way. I don't know.
Pick up the pieces.
Fascinating, and that's what we get in jump racing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the great fun of it all, really.
I suppose McCoy never had that because he already had it won by.
Yeah, done by Christmas.
Done by Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, he had exactly in September.
Bit like me in Norway, Dave, to be honest.
Jersey wonder.
Jersey, Norway, yeah.
You did actually win a Guineas over there, didn't you?
Yeah, I've won a
You did win a
Guineas.
Guineas?
Yeah. I've won all the Grand Slam. I think I've done the Grand
You
Slam.
know what? I would love to go racing with you in Jersey when all this.
You've got to
is
come
done.
over, Dave. You've got to come over.
I bet we'd get treated like royalty.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's it, yeah. Red carpet treatment everywhere.
But it's a beautiful place to go over, It's absolutely some great eateries over there and bars and stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely
lovely place,
fantastic. And they are mad into their racing, and here is the champion jockey. Jersey. Of course, we should just quickly mention that you had a good chance of winning a Scottish National one year, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I had to bring this up. It was Iris de Balm was the horse that won it by half the track.
Yeah, 2008, I'd won the old Kent National round Folkestone.
Oh.
And I think one of Nichols, he had Nichols as a top weight, and he kept everyone under the 10 stone out the handicap. And Sean Curran trained it. He said, I think we need to claim off it.
Oh,
I said, no, I think we'll be fine. It's all right. Then he spoke to his confidant, who was Timmy Murphy. Like, Timmy Murphy was God in our eyes. And Timmy said, I think you best claim off it, Shawnee. So he got a £7 claim off it. It won by 14 lengths. Oh. I was at a point-to-point down in Sussex watching it. I was like that.
Me and TC could have both sat on it, and Darren Hughes could have been on it.
All four of us could have sat on it. This sort of silver one.
At the same time.
Exactly. Oh, Batch, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
You've got some big races on your CV, Batch. The Jersey Guineas, of course, being the highlights. OK, so here we go then at Ayr, and we're watching them ambling around at the start, just having his tack adjusted, his Brian Hughes on Return Ticket. We think he'll try and be up there. We think King Darjan will try and be up there. Isn't it a great narrative when two jockeys are going head to head? There was a race at Cheltenham last week, and Brian Hughes won it. It was on a mare on Mare's Day, and he attacked off the home bend. And Harry came.
McCain's horse, wasn't it?
It was McCain's horse, yeah. And I can't remember her name, but
Unexplained Glory.
Flag is up, by the way. And just the way that Brian, he actually lost his stick as well. And I was doing the close-ups, and I was like, I'm going to have to add this in, but it didn't matter. But even Brian Hughes, he knew that Harry was coming behind him, and he just mentally, I've got to get this over the line. And the stick went running, of course, he got that one over. But listen, it's great to watch, isn't it? So let's hope you serve us up a treat here. And good luck wherever you're playing in the 115 at Ayr. Slightly easier commentary for me this time, and off they go. And I'll tell you what, a bit of a curveball, Gronson C. We're not going to worry about him settling them back down in trip. On he goes. King Donshot going to have to take his medicine. Harry Skelton, he's in second. Return Ticket, he's been third this time. The Inval ran at the meeting a couple of days ago. This is something the Inval does. He did it when winning this race in 2018. He's in midfield. I'll tell you what, Gronson C Batch is opening up.
Yeah, he's letting him stride on, Sean, and settling with the hood on. Just see him jump the first.
How are we going to get over this one? Let's have a look.
Okay.
Over the first he goes. Yeah, he's
Very
right,
clever.
fine over it. The back markers then, Duke of Navan. I thought he might be a bit more prominent today, but they're going to ride the old boy cold. And Some Rain as well, who comes into it on his higher 10-year-old from Rose Domin, and Connor O'Farrell, who's having a good season. So, spread out nice and early, TC.
I mean, if you're on the favourite, it's the perfect position. Harry's getting a lovely, slight mistake there, but Harry's getting a lovely lead off Gronson C. The third horse for Theonval pecked at the second fence. I mean, if you're on the favourite or Gronson C at this stage, you're thinking everything's going well. Best horse is going to win.
Best horse is going to win then. Still TC, nice and simple. Darren Hughes, has the market reacted to Gronson C going off in front?
Yeah, King Darjan was a late drifter before the off. BSP to 2.83. He's thrown in a couple of ugly looking shapes there over the first couple of fences. He's out to 3.5, 3.55. Grandson C, very surprised to see him go forward. I got my reading of this race pretty wrong. The market isn't a big fan. He's 4.5 from a BSP of 4.1, so small drifter. DN Val, market seems to like him, 4.7 from 7.6, so about the 7-2 mark from 13-2. Return Ticket holding his price, Duke and Avon the same. But interesting to see how this goes. I am very surprised at how things have unfolded in the first 6 furlongs or so.
Thank you, Darren. That's what you get from Darren. Some ugly shapes, he says.
It's like me in a nightclub, that is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can look at that two different ways. It's like, it's 2 mile. Obviously, there's a bit of speed involved.
Yeah.
And when a horse is meeting a fence short, it's hard to get up that quick. And yeah, he did hit the top of it a little bit, but he still snapped his front leg up
I can
quick.
see what he means, though. It looked like ungainly jumping.
Yeah, it looks
almost.
worse than it is.
Yeah, fair enough. So, Batch, clean slate. You've not gone for one in this race. Who is catching your eye at the minute?
I just think it's hard to look beyond the favourite. He's, apart from them little errors early doors, he's travelling well. He's moving up on front of Grandson. Upsides now. Yeah, I'd still be on the favourite, Dave, to be honest.
Yeah, return ticket, absolutely whacked that one. I've seen him go back.
He's waxed a few, to be fair.
He was tracking his main market rival, wasn't he, through the race? But yeah, it looks like
He's got a reminder.
Yeah, Hughes is not happy with him at all. Wake up call. So if you're on return ticket, absolutely, I'm not sure you'll be on the winning ticket. But okay, now this is where King Darjon. He's definitely not going to let Sean Bone have it on his own way. And I would say that Grandson C. Tom is not really a horse that likes a battle.
No, definitely not. He always looks beat. He looks beat. Already looks beat. Sorry, Duke of Navan's travelling beautifully as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
And the Inval.
13-year-old. He's
Yeah.
so
We've
nice.
got an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old trying to chase down the Inval. I'll tell you what, look at Duke of Navan. He's absolutely loving life still. Great to see, isn't it? What will Grand C find? Probably, I don't know. It's going to be tough. As we turn him for home then, the first race at Ayr over the 2-mile trip, they are absolutely winging. And King Darjon, this is where Harry Skelton wants to be. Okay, the Inval. He probably looks the danger. Does the market suggest that, Darren Hughes?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out Duke and Navan either. Grand Sancy 7.8. The Inval 6-4 in the run. Duke and Navan 2-1. King Darjan 4-6. I don't know what way this is going to go. Even to piece the Inval, King Darjan.
Winners in front.
Changing every second.
They're 2 up, and that wasn't an ugly jump. I can tell you that much. He absolutely winged it, Batch, didn't
Winged
he?
it, yeah.
This is Harry Skelton in full motion
seen
here.
another one and all.
This is exactly the sort of horse, isn't it, that Harry Skelton loves riding. You can boot him at the fences, and he's a young horse. But I'll tell you what, the Inval is coming. This is what the Inval does, isn't it? He runs at Ayr. He disappoints the first day. We can see some drama coming. Oh, that was an ugly jump by King Darjon, and it's cost him. As the Inval goes winging past him under Nico de Boinville. They get in the shillelagh out, but there's no need whatsoever. King Darjon, did he do a little bit too much too soon? Did the final fence cost him? He's in second. Duke and Navan couldn't go with him in the end. And Grandson C looks a bit caught between trips, doesn't he? Didn't have the pace to go with him. Staying at the end into fourth. Didn't see anything else finish. The Inval then repeats his win in 2018. If he kept it, Simbo, Nico and
He ran there Friday as well, didn't he?
He did, but that's what he tends to do. I think if you look through this horse's profile in your members section in your papers today, you will see they usually, I'm not suggesting they get him fit by running on just give him a little bit of pipe opener, but a certain way of training, Batch, isn't it, for that? You know that probably this was the big idea for him. You know, he's only gone off 5-1. You know, he looked like he'd lost his form a little bit. He had everything.
He runs well up there as well. He's got previous form up there as well, I think.
So that's what he does. I think he goes to that Scottish meeting, doesn't he? So look, you know, I wasn't sure that the fire was still burning in him. Do you think?
I think the jump at the last just. Listen, Harry's gone down. He's chucked him in at the third last, the second last. And like I said before, horses, they're like coiled springs. You can only keep going to the well too many times. And Harry asked him to come up at the last, and he's like, you know what, sorry, I can't do this. I've got to go in. And he was still good at it to get over that at that speed. Very
absolutely.
clever.
And we heard
Very
Darren
clever.
a little bit ahead of us.
Because Bonville's winged it, and he's just got them vital lengths. And it's...
I mean, this horse, the Inval, hasn't won since he won this race in 2018, and he ran one day before at this meeting.
I remember that happening.
It's a carbon copy, basically.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
2 years ago,
yeah. Carbon copy bar a few days. Nicky Henderson's done a great job with him.
A great job with him. So, the old man of the party, Duke and Navan in third, fantastic. Sandwiching the favourite, King Darjon. Harry Skelton will have to wait a little bit longer to go further. Away from Brian Hughes. Return ticket didn't really turn up, did he? Maybe he'll be due a summer holiday now. We're off and running then. Mixed card, that's how we're billing it today. Sunday service here on Racing Post Live. Welcome along. If you just joined us, myself, Dave Orton, Mattie Batch, Tom Collins and Darren Hughes from Betfair guiding you along this afternoon. We must go back to Newbury because it is the John Porter Stakes, a Group 3. Some really interesting horses here. I had it down to 3, but before I tell you what they are, let's go to Darren Hughes and see what's been hot and what's not.
Yeah, we're going to go back into the lane stakes here, Dave, when we get to my selection. But we'll go to the prices here quickly first. Ala-Azi, Jim Crowley and William Haggett, 2.72, so about a 7-4 shot. Deja then for Ryan Moore and Peter Chappell-Hyam, 6.2. Kips, 7.4. Without a Fight, 9.2. Outbox, 10.5. And it's kind of bigger prices the rest after that. My selection here is I'm going to get after Deja here for Ryan Moore after Peter Chappell-Hyam. All this horse's form has come on softer ground, and in fact he's been a non-runner 3 times on ground that's been described just as good. Not even good to firm, but just as good. And that for me is reason alone to oppose him. You then dig down a little bit deeper. All his form has come in handicap. This is obviously a Group 3, so it's another big step up. And I just think there's plenty of reasons to oppose him here. I'm actually going to lay him for a place, which he should be about an even money shot for. So, Tom, if you can get in there for me, around the 2.1 mark is fine. And we lay him again, same thing, liability, hit the box, 50 quid, and we lay him for 50 quid. I just think on balance, there's plenty of reasons to oppose him here. As I said, the ground and the step up in class. Look, William Haggas got off to a decent start this year. The Fab could be hard to beat. Hips would have a little bit to find, but has always looked to me like a horse who's better than his mark, if a little bit maybe ungenuine or kind of or a bit reluctant to go through with it. But there will a day come for him, I think, where he'll put up a huge performance, and it could be today. So on that balance, I'm happy to take on Deja.
TC, is the trading complete?
The trade has been placed. It's not been fully matched yet, though.
Okay, keep an eye on that, TC, if you wouldn't mind. And Darren, happy days. All right, so taking on Deja is Darren Hughes, who's made a good start to the day. Is this a hot pot for you?
I do like when Ryan Moore teams up with Peter Chapel-Hine. I think they've got a good record looking back. He rides him a few winners. Do you know what? I'm going to go. I do like the race fit Archie Watson horse. Comes here in good form. Outbox. And like a lot of these horses, first run of the season, race fit. It might just have the edge over some of these. And 17 to 2 is interesting price.
You could do a lot worse than
Yes.
get on a Holly Doyle horse that's fit with ones next to its name that you know is not going to be far away from the pace.
Exactly.
TC.
I thought it's a very tricky race. I don't like Deja. I'm with Darren there. I don't like him at all. Al-Azi, if he didn't run so badly in the Gordon Stakes last year, then he would be a real fancied hot pot in this race, I imagine. I mean, he's a hot pot anyway at 13 to 8, but there are just question marks there. The trainer couldn't offer any explanation for the poor performance. Prior to that, he won so impressively at Newmarket.
Bahrain Trophy that day, wasn't it?
Yeah, I like to see a horse run well last time out, if in a group race especially. So I want to take one at the prices. I thought Kipps was the each way bet to nothing in this race.
Was that a later race in the season, that, for Al-Azi, was it?
The Gordon State, yeah.
Was
When
it?
was that? Was it in September?
July.
It was
July.
a Glorious
Oh.
meeting, wasn't it?
Oh, it was early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been seen since 262 days. That suggests there was potentially a problem there, does it
Something
not?
wrong afterwards.
Oh,
Yeah, I think they drew stumps there.
Yes, listen, but it was almost too bad to be true that day, wasn't it? He has
Are
got
you willing
form
to
on
just-
fast and soft ground. I found it very hard to get away from him. I thought that Deja was interesting, and then I'm with you, Darren, on this. You look through it; it is softer ground. I think that is where his best is. He won the Old Newton Cup, of course, second time out last year. First time up, he nearly won a handicap at Royal Ascot. Scarlet Dragon just beat him. Do you remember that was Holly Doyle's first winner at Ascot? At Royal Ascot, absolute peach that day. He's a classy horse. They've always thought that he is a, bordering on group class, I think. And Ryan Moore, yeah, absolutely. He's really, I don't want to say he turned a corner, Ryan Moore, but he is back to what we knew of him a couple of years ago. I think he came for a lot of criticism, Ryan, did he? Because he's always on short, priced horses, basically, and he can't win everything. And he's the first one that punters like to throw some stick at, but I think he's been.
That's always the way at the top, though, Dave. I mean, look, he's an ambassador for us, and we're obviously delighted. He's, for our money, he's the best flat jockey in the world. I don't think there's any question of that. And as you said, he rides a lot of short price stats. They all can't win, and when they don't win, you come in for that bit of stick. But I think his record in and of itself just shows he's far and away the best flat jockey in certainly in Britain and Ireland, and probably the world. Or he's up there in terms of the world as well, I would say.
He was fantastic when we had him here through the winter, the likes of Lingfield and Kempton.
Definitely.
These top jockeys can go to these all-weather tracks, Tom, can't they? And they don't know. Like Adam Kirby, we keep saying about Kirby on the weather, but he knows every blade of grass, but he knows exactly where you've got to challenge and when to challenge the up and the downs. And Ryan Moore, after about 2 meetings there, worked it all out.
Yeah, and it's crucial, I think, for Ryan Moore this season, especially. Like, he started off so well purely because he's been riding on the all-weather over the winter. In previous years, he's potentially not ridden many horses on the all-weather, and he's come in a bit rusty, and then he takes all the stick. But as Darren said, he's a brilliant jockey, one of the best about. And he's going to give Deja a great ride, but I don't think the horse is up to it.
He's rated £4 higher than Al-Azi, and yet one's 4 to 1 and one's 13 to 8. I just think if Al-Azi is the horse that he thought he was, and William Haggas has had some hot pots come out and deliver on the course.
So
so
I
far,
take issue with
think
that
he'd
as
be the
well,
one.
Dave. As in, Deja's gotten his rating from winning handicap. Do you know what I mean? Right, fair enough. They're competitive handicaps and they're good races. But Al-Azi, he's gone out and won a Group 3, and obviously, you're saying he's rated £4 lower, probably because he won that as a 3-year-old, so it's harder to get to those higher rates. But they're completely different. I don't understand. A horse rated 112 through handicap, not as good as a horse ride at 112 we got there through group races. In my opinion, it's an angle I often take. They're not as high quality races, and I think you can. There's an angle there to be had by opposing horses who've gotten to those high ratings through winner handicap.
You could quite easily say, Darren, that he's got nowhere else to go, I suppose. So they're running him on quick ground, and 1-1-12. You're going to struggle to get into these handicaps, or you'll be keeping massive weights there, etc. Let's get a social up on the screen. Alan Cronk comes on. Was it Cronic? Sorry, not Cronk. Missed the eye there. Come on, Tyson Fury.
Yeah, when does he fight, AJ?
Oh, is it June?
Yeah,
June, yeah, I think it is June, yeah.
Are you suggesting that this will still be running then, are you?
Going back to Ryan, though, I think there's a bit of a perception out there that people think he's a little bit rude, a little bit ignorant. But, listen, I was lucky enough, I worked with his granddaddy's dad, and I'm showing my age now, I used to babysit him as well. But there's
That's why he's so shy.
Yeah. He's always been shy from day dot. You've obviously got Hayley and Jamie.
School, apparently.
Yeah, Hayley and Jamie, very outgoing.
Yeah.
Josh and Ryan, always quite reserved. And and I think because of all the stick he's had over the years, he plays on it now and thinks if you think that of me, then I'm going to go down that road. But he's always been riding out.
Do you know what I found back?
What's that?
I find it depends who's talking to him.
Yeah.
I find when he's come over here and he's ridden in Ireland for us, and the RTE guys talk to him on a Sunday here in the Curragh, he's actually very witty. He's very funny, kind of dry humour, but very insightful as well. I find it's maybe he's just not as reactive in the UK for whatever reason. Maybe it's who's talking to him, or maybe it's because that's where he's from or whatever. He doesn't feel he has to play up to it as much. But Jesus, I've seen him over here now, and he's actually a very funny individual, like a dry sense of humour, but as I said, very insightful as well.
You'll find whoever he's talking to, if they're in the past, if they've sort of said something like that, and he talk to them, short, tell them what they want to know, and go. I think he's very good with Bob Cooper, because Coops has never said a bad word or something against him, and Bob makes him laugh. You can see he tries to ride the little grin. He's fine. I remember when you have your first ride, you would go to out on Mongolia. You go anywhere. So we're riding out one morning, and he was an amateur then. And Gary says, "Oh, that your mum's horse. That's going to run at Wolverhampton in an amateur race on Saturday night." He says, "I ain't going all the way out there to ride that piece of." It's your first ride. You'll go anywhere.
You're going to be the multiple champion jockey. How dare you?
Yeah. This is Ryan. When you leave school, what do you want to do? Jamie was there every morning with his nan, 5:30, taking the buckets out, and Ryan would stroll in, probably second lot, ride out. Roy, what do you want to do when you leave school? Oh, just anything that makes me a load of money to be on this batch, you know. But he was good at football, academically. He was good at school. He's just one of those people that was naturally good at everything. But he's a great lad. He's always been a good lad. I remember him. He had done an interview with me that he wouldn't do it with someone else, and I went round his house and he let me film the kids, and he was fine. They were playing football, and he was good as gold. So.
Are you going to get him in on this panel then?
I'll get him on here.
Happy days.
Again, we have to discuss the fee.
They're going up, these fees.
They're going up, yeah. Well, Dickie's going to be fee.
Mongolia, by the way, as well. I can see that happening if it's not already.
Win the Guineas there, I tell you.
There's a Guineas. There's always a Guineas, and absolutely, they all count. Tyson Fury, a quick word on him, because we ought to do that, of course, for Alan. Yeah, he's interesting, isn't he? Just the 3 runs, of course. It was St Ledger, wasn't it? And then he went to Ascot, and he's a tough horse. I wonder if he might want a bit of juice underneath. And a mark of 100. Again, you're sort of stuck with these horses. You can't go into handicaps. You can't go into novices now. So, again, here he is in a Group 3. So he's just finding his way. But he does have a Group 2 entry going on. There are lots of other interesting horses in here. Yukon Glen, what a season he had. I wouldn't be surprised to see the course and distance winner go well for Jim Goldie and Paul Mulrennan. Paul coming down to ride him, of course. Without a Fight, Simon Crisford, a trainer that we've all got so much time for. His string is really starting to warm up now. Again, we haven't seen the better of him. He's won at the track. Kipps. We must, of course, mention Kipps. Darren did. Probably more ability than Ryan Moore, this chap. But he has been gelded, isn't he? He got called loads of names, TC, last year because he never quite went through with it.
Yeah, I backed him on a couple of occasions last year. Haydock on his first start when he finished second to a horse called Walk On By. Looked all over the winner that day. Then I backed him next time as well when he got beat by Huckham at Ascot. I'm with him today just for the each way factor. I think he's.
This is the tip.
Yeah, I think he's the value play. I know if you're looking at ratings, you're going to see that he's rated 93 and he's against a load of horses that are rated 100 plus. But I don't like looking at ratings for Group 3 races like this or Group 2 races because, as Darren said, you're just getting a rating based on different races. Like Al Arzi, yes, he won a Group 3, but it was an awful Group 3. The second Dawn Rising's only won a maiden, and previously Al Arzi's just won a maiden, and he's rated 108. Like, how can you take that literally? The same with Deja, like 112 is probably far too steep for that horse after a couple of handicap victories. So I don't look at the ratings in this kind of race. I just think Kipps is the reliable, a word that you wouldn't usually use for Kipps.
The gelding operation could just be changing. It calms horses, of course, when they have the coolest cut of all.
Yeah.
And we will see. You do see horses completely transform. You're right about Al Arzi. I looked through his form as well. I was expecting it to be a little bit better. Of course, he kept very good company, and it was just a manner in which he won that Bahrain Trophy. And I know that William Haggis has thought that this will be a future stallion. So, and it's just Haggis, isn't it? He's just magical at this.
He's priced accordingly because of connections and the visual impression he's given in his victories, not necessarily what he's beaten. It's just how he's done it. And
this could be an egg on face horse, basically.
I just had a quick look at his form. Could it be simple? It looks like he didn't really handle the good to firm ground at Goodwood and on his...
Potentially.
Yeah, he has got 2 wins on juice.
You can see the stars and Shamadell.
Yes, it is pretty quick there. Can I give you a line from David Probert from the first race? It's nice, quick ground, says David Probert once he was interviewed by James Byrne.
The time the first now suggests it says good. I'd say it's the good to firm side.
We've got to take on the favourite then, Darren. Come on.
You're going to take on the Fav.
We're going to take on the Fav. Come on.
I'm expecting this to be quite hard to beat Al Arzi, but again, you've got to take a bit of a leap of faith. But it's William Haggis. I'm happy to do that. Jim Crowley as well. Can I give you a quote, of course, from Richard Hannon, trainer of Snow Lantern, as well as they go in now for this St Simon Stakes and the John Porter, I should say. A decision on the Guineas will be made by the owners and his family. They bred the mare. It's all about black type, but I think she'll get a mile and a half. That could just be the key in the Hannon quote there for the Oaks. All right, let's move on then. It's the 125 at Newbury. Off we go and off we are running. Really looking forward to this. Some great to see some of the old characters of the game coming back and fighting each other out in his Group 3. And it's old Eucan Glen that goes on. I say old because what is he now? Is he an 8-year-old now?
Yes, yeah, 8-year-old.
He is. Yeah, okay. So he goes on. And very interestingly, being kept slightly wider than the others. Who's that up there with him as well?
Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury only got one way of going, and that's to get into a nice fight early on. Outbox can't even get the lead today. Holly Daw, but she's got a nice sit, settled really well. Without a fight, is coming up into fourth. Kipps, he settles nicely enough in midfield. Punting is there. Richard Hughes, she's got a big one in her, but this is perhaps a little bit classy for her. Deja looks to have got a little bit warm to me out the back, a little bit of sweat on his mane, I can see at the minute. Al Arzi tracking him, and Redverdon, good old Redverdon, out the back as well. TC.
Yeah, the second furlong they ran in almost 12 seconds flat, which is pretty quick. They're going a pretty decent gallop early. I wouldn't mind if I was on Al Arzi. Just if you've backed him at this stage, he's in a good position out the back. Don't worry that he's given 10 lengths to the leader. They seem to have gone pretty hard, although Paul Mulrenan's just slowed down the pace slightly there on Eucan Glen.
Is Newbury a track on the flat batch where I think sitting in the box seat, as we call it, third or fourth, is usually perfect there? But
yeah, I think it is because you run down here a little bit, turn in, and they sort of get racing. Sort of go half a furlong, get racing. So you need to be near the box seat. Yeah, definitely on the flat.
Okay, well, Al Arzi is going to do it what you might say the hard way then at Newbury. He's sitting right out the back at the moment. Darren Hughes, they're turning in. We've just gone past the 5 furlong pole. Who's been hot?
Yeah, Lassie, small bit of a drift, 2.8 from a BSP weight, 2.62 now. Deja, big drift for 7.4, 6.8, Kip 6.6. Without a fight, big one for money, 5.3 from 9.36. So in for an interesting finish here. Lassie very strong, he's done 5-4 on the run. So we'll see how we get on here as we go into the last 3 furlongs or so.
And this is where Batch was saying they get racing, and they have done that. Eucan Glen now coming under it. Tyson Fury, he's finding a bit outbox there as well. Al Arzi absolutely cruising through the back. This is kind of what the model he was when he won in the Bahrain Trophy, but he's been off the track for a long time. What will he find? He's hanging a little bit as well, suggesting the ground is plenty quick enough. So at the moment, it's outbox for Mattie Batchelor.
Come on,
Tyson
Holly.
Fury there on the inside without a fight. Will the favourite go and pick them up, Al Arzi? Jim Crowley thinks so. He gets his stick. The response is there. This is a classy model. We'll get the thoughts of the panel after this. Kip's absolutely nothing today. Looked very much first day back at school for him. But Al Arzi, this is the model that William Haggis was expecting. Well done if you back the Jolly in the second race at Newbury. Pretty easy in the end. He just had that little hang. When the horse's head goes like that, as Batchelor tester, it usually means they're feeling the ground slightly. Do they let themselves down on it? Whoosh, off he went. Without a Fight was in second. What was in third there?
Outbox.
Outbox. Well done, Batch.
Well done, Batch.
Lots of people would have gone for the play there. And well done to you, Darren Hughes. You weren't keen on Deja. He was one of the first beaten, wasn't he, TC?
Yeah, Deja was one of the first beaten. Al Arzi's just built on the promise that we saw early in his career. His price probably represented little value, but he's done it like a favourite should. Clearly the best horse in that race. I don't think it was a great race for the depth. I mean, nothing really challenged Al Arzi that came from the back. Obviously, Outbox was up there from an early stage. Tyson Fury ran well for a long way as well on his comeback, but the winner was just a cut above today.
Where do we go with him now, TC? What sort of... he's in the Coronation Cup. Oh, great to be talking about that again on the first Friday in June.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting one what William Haggis does with him. He's very lightly raced. Was that just his sixth start today? He showed plenty of gears. I think he was benefited from being off the pace, though the second and the third were up there in the vanguard from the start. But he's really nice horse, and he's sticking his neck out. I don't know where they'll go next. Probably a step up in class, Group 2 company, maybe.
Yeah.
I think they flattered him a little. I'm asking, just do you think, as you say, they second and third were up in the van going quite quick?
Yeah.
I mean, visually it looks impressive, but do you look back and say, were they tiring a little bit towards the end? Have they flattered him a little bit? It does look impressive, but...
I'd say
I don't know, you might be...
No, I'd say
Kipps
highly
hasn't
likely.
turned up, has he? Deja hasn't really turned up. So the two big ones in the market that you might thought that were given something to hasn't, as I get my words out.
If you look there Without a Fight, who finishes second, he's not really firing in the closing stages. That final sectional for both the second and the third will be slow. I'm
Their
sure.
strides are shortening, where he's lengthening. So
he last ran over 1 mile 6 Without a Fight, and if you watch him again, he is coming back at the finish. Interestingly, Al Arzi is in the Yorkshire Cup over 1 mile 6. Does that suggest they might think he might be a stayer on? If you read your quotes from this horse, which of course you can do in your members section, Maureen Haggis, of course, assistant and wife to William, said William has always liked this horse. He is a beautiful horse. You're thinking that on you at the moment now if you took the 13 to 8 or thereabouts. Darren Hughes, he must have got... I mean, I can remember you saying he was short around about 4 furlongs out.
He was, yeah, he did. But he did hit a high at 3.3 in the run. There is often this bias on the exchange of those that are far back. The market can take them on. But as TC alluded to there very early on, they did go quite quickly. Like close to 12-second furlong in a mile and a half race is pretty. It's pretty good going. You'd see that usually over a shorter distance. But as I say, Jim matched about 3.3. The 9-4 mark for 800 quid. So somebody did take him on it. That was pretty good. He was impressive enough. As you lads said there, it looked more like he was able to keep going while the other ones were maybe slowing down. Good to get the place lane on Deja as well. I think the ground was very much against him, and probably not good enough either, but certainly I think the ground was a big factor there. Surprised how short he went off. So happy days, yeah. Good performance from the winner. Be interesting to see where he goes next.
Yeah, good shooting, Darren. Happy hunting it has been so far from our man from Betfair in Dublin. OK, so we've got to go back up to Ayr, haven't we? It's the 150 coming up now. Let's move on then. Let us know what you think about Arzi then. Is this a Group 1 model or are we looking at a Group 2 horse? Where does he go? Could it be Coronation Cup yet? Could it yet be the Gold Cup at Ascot? He's got that mile 6 entry. And one thing about William Haggis, just before we do go up to Ayr, I took the leap of faith that it's just Haggis. He's so good at getting these horses back and right, and when they're firing, everyone loves William Haggis, don't they?
Of course, yeah, and he's had a very good start to the season, actually, William Haggis. I think he said, there was a quote the other day, I'm not sure where I heard it, he was saying that John Goslin's winning everything with all of his horses, so I need to up my game, is what Haggis said, and he started the season very well.
Yeah, OK, great stuff. Such an exciting narrative lies ahead in 2021 on the flat, but it's not the end of the current jump season yet. Let's get interesting. We've got a staying handicap coming your way. It is the 150 at Ayr. Darren Hughes.
Yeah, interesting race here. Kilbarra, another Irish raider for Emmett Mullins and Elaine Cawley, 6.0. Fav, 5-star getaway. He's on the crest wave at the moment. Christian Williams, he's 7.0. Maroon then for Brian Hughes, trying to close the gap on Harry Skelton, 8.4. Phlegmatic, 8.8. Dublin 4, 8.8, and it's kind of bigger prices the rest after that. The angle I'm going to take here is it's not exactly splitting the atom, but I'm going to go after the Irish horse, the British Handicap again, but we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not just going to take the price here on the screen. TC, if you can set up a keep bet for me here at 10.0, please, and I'll explain my reasoning then. I'd be hoping to get this matched in the run. So if you can click the box to keep in play, please.
How much are we placing?
50 quid win, please.
Lovely. And that is sorted.
Perfect. So look, my reasoning for this is it's something that the exchange gives you the functionality to do, or gives you the ability to do, is, as we alluded to there, sometimes in races, horses that sit a bit further back, they drift in the bet, and horses that go forward tend to shorten up in the bet, especially early on. Pilbara is going to be ridden very cold here. I think he's going to be ridden right out the back, and as such, I do feel like his price might be much bigger after a mile or a mile and a half, and we're likely to get. I don't think that's necessarily a negative reflection of his actual chance. So I think plugging in a bet here at about the 10.0 mark, we'd hope that we might get that match so at some point in the race, and then obviously we still hope he goes on to win the race. But again, it's just if you can read how you think the race is going to go and you can bet accordingly. He's 6.4 there. If you think he's going to get bigger in the race, but you still think he has the same chance of winning, it makes perfect sense then to set yourself up with an in-play run and bet at a bigger price that you think you might get matched at.
Lovely, showcasing the functionality of the exchange there. That's why we like to bill it. Done brilliantly there by Darren Hughes. And however, after that very coherent argument that you put up for him, you could have just said Irish horse and a handicap, couldn't you, of course, Darren? And Emmett Mullins, trainer of the Shunter, of course, and his strike rate in Britain is something ridiculous. Let's get a social comment up. I've led that one. Hugh Masson comes back onto the show and says, is Pilbara the Shunter Mark II? Same colours, or used to be the same colours. Of course, Paul Byrne and his cohorts have this horse. We saw them carried to success in the Greatwood Hurdle and at the Cheltenham Festival Batch. He's he's never won over fences, this chap.
Yeah, but if you look at his form going back, he's ran over, well, what to me looks like inadequate trips. 3 mile, bang, 2 wins. Now, last 4 runs, inadequate trips, 2 mile, 2-4, 2-6, today up to 3 mile. It just looks like to me it's been primed and ready for this race. Christian Williams' horse, 5-star getaway, it's got to defy a £15 rise, but it looks like it's doing everything right. We completed the hat-trick the other day. Wincanton, was it?
Haydock.
Haydock, sorry, yeah. And so he looks improving type, and Christian thinks a lot of him as well. So, but yeah, the Irish horse just looks like it's been absolutely sort of cherry-picked for this race for me.
Is that the tip then?
Yeah, that's the tip for me.
Ring with Darren Hughes. Two-way split then on Pilbara.
It's against my better nature to agree with Darren Hughes.
Most certainly.
Get a pair of these earmuffs for yourself.
You're going to get a pair of them earmuffs.
Yeah.
Me and Dave didn't get the memo of Hoodie Day as well.
Well, they dressed down. It's dressed down
Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday. We didn't know that, yeah.
Unbelievable. We got collars on back.
We dressed for church.
I don't think they'd let us in.
Are you allowed into a church?
No.
You're up in flames, I'd say.
No. I'd say there's still not a lot of people allowed in churches, as was quite evident yesterday, of course. OK, so it's Pilbara, a two-way split. However, TC, I asked you when you came in the office today, what was your best selection? And we have a 5-star nap.
Yeah, I really like 5-star getaway in this race. Now, I am scared of Pilbara. Emmett Mullins, as I mentioned, basically every time I come on this show, Emmett Mullins has a runner in Britain, and he's one of the shrewdest placers that we've seen over jumps in the last couple of years. I think he places horses incredibly well to win big prizes. We've seen that with the Shunter all season. I am worried about Pilbara. However, I did a preview for the Grand National, obviously prior to Aintree, with Christian Williams. And he was saying how 5-star getaway is his big hope for the future. Him and Kitty's Light, who's current second favourite for the Bet365 Gold Cup, which is next Saturday. Christian said at the time that he was going to run 5-star getaway in the 2 mile 4.5 furlong handicap chase on the same card as Kitty's Light next Saturday, and that they were hoping to have a decent party, let's say. He's rerouted here, which is very interesting. I'm quite surprised about that. But this horse, he's just got so much ability. He was obviously very well handicapped at the start of this streak, wasn't he? What was he running off? Marker 94. He won by 6 lengths at Wincanton in March. Ridiculously well handicapped that day. He won very impressively the last twice. He's gone up in the weights, but Jack Tudor is a great jockey. He takes £3 off. He's basically a fully fledged pro. It's a cheap £3. I just think there's more improvement in there.
We don't know, do we? And I guess that the unlocking or negating that £15 rise is the trip. He began his sequence at Wincanton Batch when he was just so ridiculously well handicapped, wasn't it? And it was at Sandown the next time. I think I backed the second that day, and I knew about 4 out. I was second at best, I think. And then Haydock last time, he really did confirm himself a very useful chaser. Again, I thought he'd be shorter, actually. That's why I've gone away from him. I wouldn't be keen to lay him at the kind of price as he is. I've got a bit of a project in this race, if we come to my team. It's called Phlegmatic. So I am hoping that Harry Skelton goes 7 clear of Brian Hughes here. Phlegmatic, if you watched him on Midlands National Day, at the end of a very long week in this studio, I was with him that day, and he whacked one just as he was coming in. Good ground, absolutely perfect, I think, for him over the trip. They could have messed around. It looked that day like he didn't quite get home. But soft ground at you tocks it up. Even on a dry week, it was soft ground.
Yeah,
Midlands National, it's puddingy, isn't it, Batch?
Yeah, puddingy, sticky. And if you make mistakes in that sort of ground, it does make your job a lot harder.
Yeah.
A lot harder. But as I say, better ground today, you definitely give him another chance, definitely.
The other one I like, and this is the Butcher Said, who has been tipped by Barry Orr, who often sits in Darren's seat and does this show, over and over again. And he just was the greater value of the pair. So I've backed Phlegmatic, who now looks like he's coming in for good money. But I think there is good reason to be with the Butcher Said today. He ran in the old Racing Post Chase, didn't he, at Kempton last time. He's running some of the top handicaps. And he does look a little bit like a thinker sometimes. But they mess around with his win. And if you were held up off that crazy pace at Kempton last time, you stood no chance. Actually, 9th I didn't think was such a bad run. This is easier for him. And second time off a Windop, look at his profile. Tends to be a 1 next to his name. So Adrian Heskin and Ollie Murphy, he's the headline tip for me as they go around.
I like the Ian Williams horse as well. These horses are running well.
Did Marth win well the other day, didn't it?
Running well.
Warwick.
At Warwick, yeah. 9 lengths victory. And you say his horses are in cracking form, and the kiddie on top, Charlie Todd, he rides well, yeah.
Posties is his mentor, isn't he?
Posties his mentor,
He
is
is, yeah. Did you see what happened at Southwell? Off Dragon Bones. Aye, Posty. He'll probably be watching out there if he's not a point-to-point. I'll tell you what, he had a nice point-to-point winner this weekend, didn't he?
He did.
He breaks in horses and sells them. Of course, he's had all these young horses waiting to run. I think he had the star run over the weekend.
I think he took the price tag off quick and changed it, and he put another 0 on it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He was very happy, man, yesterday. The claret would have been flowing in the Post household, that's for sure. But I can't wait to get back to a point-to-point. Let us know where you're going to go on May the 17th in England or Scotland or indeed Wales if you want to go racing. That will be the case, won't it? Where are you going to go? Will you be at Windsor? Come and say hello if that's the case. You won't miss us. We'll be at the bar.
It's worth noting that Darren's bet has actually been matched on Pilbara at 10.
Okay.
But now he's
Just
been
going
backed.
to say,
Yeah.
Is he drifting then, Darren?
He's come back in again, yeah. He was 6.4 when we put the bet up. He first out to about 10.5. He's now around the 9.0 mark. So didn't get matched in the way I thought we would. We've been matched, so we'll see how we get on. There's about 3 miles to go yet. I thought it might be 1.5 miles then we'd get matched. We'll see how we get on.
So all that lovely coherent argument you put up on why we should be doing, it's already been matched. Happy days. You're having a great day, Darren. All right, so listen, 3 miles, as Darren says. We are about to go off in the 150 at Ayr. Good luck wherever you're going. I haven't even mentioned Maroon, have we, of course, with Brian Hughes. He's now, I think, just about gone off favourite. It's a right old gallop here. And as you mentioned, Darren Hughes, Pilbara has been ridden cold right out the back.
Yeah.
Let's see how Phlegmatic, one of my selections, and the Butchers said. They're having none of the early argument. Who is going up front, Batch?
That is...
One for Fleury, is it?
One for Fleury, yeah. The Ian Williams horse. And that looks like Aidan Coleman, isn't it?
Admiral Baratry.
Baratry.
Hurricane Harvey up there as well, the outside a lot for Fergal O'Brien. Fergal O'Brien, has he got to 100 yet, Fergal O'Brien?
I think he's still 2 off, isn't he?
The media campaign about this, isn't he? He's so good with his social media, Fergal O'Brien and Hurricane Harvey.
What will Paddy do crossing the line if he gives him his 100th winner?
Let's hope he stays in the saddle because he loves to give it a bit of that, Paddy, doesn't he?
Good old Paddy.
Yeah, it's good old Paddy, absolutely. 40 years old and still doing it. OK, so William Wallace for Sandy Thompson and Ryan Mania. They'll be hoping to take out the Scottish National later on. They've got Dingo Dollar and, of course, the Ferrymaster as well, who's going to be one of my picks in the Scottish National. Well, we run about, 3:35, isn't it? So plenty of time we've still got. Unbelievable. 10 races we're giving you here today on RP Live. OK, the gallop then, Batch in this. Whoa, was that Hurricane Harvey then?
Hurricane Harvey, yeah.
Came a crop on that, but he set up beautifully. Dead right then for Tom Scudamore and Neil Mulholland sits in about 5th. 5-star getaway TC, upside Moran in midfield, settled beautifully.
Yeah, travelling lovely in midfield, jumping really well as well. Moran just made a slight mistake there, got a slap down the shoulder from Brian Hughes. But no, Pilbara and 5-star getaway just catching the eye at this stage. Let's
go to Darren Hughes then. We've had, around about 6 fences, haven't we? Is the market really going for one, or is it still as you were?
Pilbara very strong, Dave. 5.6 from a BSP of 8.8. 5-star getaway holding his price 8.2. Marone is the big drifter. He's obviously hit a few 13, 14.5, and BSP is 6.77, so about 12 to 1 from 11 to 2. Phlegmatic holding his price 9.0 from 11.0, but 8 to 1 there. Double 4, same story. But the market seems to like Pilbar being out the back.
It looks a bit keen to me, you know.
Which one?
Small, but I wouldn't disagree.
Phil
He's
Barra.
happening a bit too well.
He's just be interesting to see if he gets home. He's just.
If you're riding in Batch, what are you thinking? I'm 3 lengths off the second last, and you just drop your head for me, please.
I'd be more. He's winging his fences. He's jumping well. And you, from a jockey's point of view, you probably just want him to go in and pop, just to get him back on his hocks a little bit, because he's
over 3 miles.
Every time he's jumping, he's just taking a pull there because he's just letting the gas out a bit every time he lands.
Okay, Innisfree lad, he's having a bit of the say now. What a great winner he was for Mark Orosky, our Betfair rep, a couple of weeks ago. Of course, we should first mention of the April charity, of course. It's Greatwood, and we've been doing great things for charity this year. Perhaps we'll have a little chat about that after this race, but he's going well on the outside. They always like to give this horse a nice sight of his fences out wide, and he will stay on all day. Dublin 4 TC is a horse that I did not oppose lightly in this.
No, he was very impressive last time. Was it at Newbury, I think it was?
Yeah.
He came from the rear that day and jumped and travelled. Oh, he just made a horrendous mistake, though.
Curse.
Yeah, the curse. But he did jump and travel really well last time. Whether he can do that and recover from that mistake again today, we'll see.
Jack Tudor moving your horse up, 5-star Getaway, just got in a little bit short.
Made another
there,
mistake there.
Dublin 4.
Oh, was that Dublin 4? Yeah, jumping, gone to pieces. The curse. And we always say it on this show, don't we? He's going really, really well, and then they come off the bridle or they go and whack one. Dublin 4. Apologies if you're on him at the moment, because he's gone right through the back of the field. But one more flurry now under Charlie Todd takes it up. A horse that's in the form of his life, and they're striking while the iron hot before the handicapper can react, because he's due to be a little bit higher after that Warwick romp the other day. I just wonder whether that race fell apart a little bit at Warwick. We will find out, because they're going out onto the far side. Who's taking closer action then? Dead Right, who's had a wind up, I think, isn't it? For JP McManus, had a month off, of course, for Tom Scudamore. He senses that his horse is going quite well at the moment. So William Wallace has gone nicely on the inside all the way. Who's that in third spot? Oh, it's Hurricane Harvey, isn't it? Recovered from that Horlicks of an error about 5 fences ago. 5-star Getaway. Phlegmatic. This is interesting. If he gets into a rhythm, I'll tell you what, Harry Skelton will really fancy his chances around about 3 out. The Butcher's Said now starting to get a bit closer as Mac Totty out the back gets in a little bit closer one. Just had a little look at that fence 5-star Getaway, TC.
Yeah, I think Dead Right was backing off it just in front of him, and Jack Tudor didn't want to, get 5-star Getaway to give him a big jump, so just let him pop it, and he was just a tad slow, much better that time.
I'm looking for Pilbara, guys. Batch, he's just sensing maybe now's the time to get a little bit closer.
Yeah, he's sitting very cold on him, and I'd be just got in closer to that one. He'd just give him a slap down the shoulder then.
Alan Corley, of course, on Pilbara, who's just been basically, the Butcher's Said, and he went through the top of that one. What are we, 5 out now? So the Innisfree lad starting to feel the pinch. Morone, I wonder how good Morone's going actually at the moment, TC. I'm not totally sure there's a lot left there.
No, me neither. There's reasons to oppose all the market leaders in running at this stage. 5-star Getaway has been jumping up the back of Dead Right, virtually every fence. Pilbara's jumping right. Morone's not travelling. 5-star Getaway now making a big mid-race move up into 4th.
I'll tell you what, this will be one of the stories of the season handicapping-wise if he goes and takes this out and then wins next week at the Bet365 meeting, wouldn't it? Unbelievable placing by Christian Williams, one of the good guys in jumps racing, that's for sure. Phlegmatic then, getting a little bit closer into 4th or 5th. The Butcher's Said not done with. I wonder what he'll find today. But up front, we've been seeing all season the front runners dominating, and 2 are going clear now. What are we? I think we must be at the 4th last batch. 3 out, of course. One more flurry then going for it. So William Wallace is perfect.
The Bowen horse is going well.
Here comes Phlegmatic. Will he stay? Harry Skelton sensing it. The Butcher's Said finds absolutely nothing. That'll be a cliff for me on that horse, I think. Hurricane Harvey still there. Mac Totty, who won nicely the other day at Newbury. He's having a say as well. He's a big fight, but at the moment, this is Ian Williams. What a great jump that was by one more flurry.
Yeah.
I think he's got another front runner, and Dublin 4's that perform miracles after those mistakes to come into the frame. 5-star Getaway, just running up and down on the spot. If he wings this, it's all over. What a lovely jumping display this is.
Bonus,
yeah, Charlie Todd, one of the rising stars.
And a little mention from the batch.
And Posty will be going, go on, my son. You know what he's like? He's definitely on a retainer there, isn't he? Posty screams them over. The Butcher, was that a Butcher's Said?
Yeah.
It was,
Oh, come on, man. It's Itchy Feet. It's who else have they got? Bruno Upperstorm. They've got these horses, haven't they? Ollie Murphy, the trainer, that they look beat and they keep coming back. Oh, he got a place there, but he never looked like winning. Well done if you kept with the in-form. One more flurry then. 11 to 1 was the Industry SP. Darren Hughes, what did he start on Betfair?
He started at a price of 14.0, so obviously, as per usual, much better value on the Betfair Exchange than with the industry SPs. Hit a high at 27 in the run. Some performance there now to make pretty much all in such a big field, pretty competitive field. When you get quick ground around there, it can be quite hard to come from off it, to be honest with you. You know, it's hard to make up the ground. It gets away from you. Those fences come up pretty quickly as well, so it's harder to make up the ground on the flat. Kilbarrow's never really got into it, unfortunately, the selection. Hit a low of 11-4 in the run, would you believe? I don't know where that came from for only a small few quid, but never really just got into it. 5-star getaway, yeah, look, probably maybe one race too many for him. Hit a low of 4.6 in the run. Great performance from the winner, Charlie Todd. Very brave to go from the front like that, and certainly on an upward curve, so well done to them.
When did the market know, Darren? The reason why I'm asking you is because it was remarkable how many times we sit in this studio, guys, and our Betfair reps as well, and we watch something that's got into a nice rhythm up front. They just cannot cope with it at all. When did they know, Darren, that this was going to hang on?
I think it genuinely wasn't until I think he jumped the third last that he went to in around the 5-4 marker thereabouts. Before that, the market seemed to think something was going to come and take him, and he was kind of a sitting duck. But it's often the ways, and I know it's probably a touch of aftertime to an extent, but if you watch these races, the market does seem to over-assume that this thing is good, that something is going to come back. And look, fair enough, it does a chunk of the time, but oftentimes it doesn't. I mean, there is value to be had. I've often seen horses there at like the right side of even money when they could be jumping the second last 3 lengths there or whatever, you know.
Okay, all right. So there we are. Look, listen, stick with these staying chasers that get out of front, basically, in our prime races that we bring you on RP Live. You're not going to go too far wrong. So one more flurry beats Mac Totty, and the butcher said, a frustrating butcher said, you know what, that's not a cliff I'm jumping off yet. I'm a sucker for more.
That's the first time he's actually finished a race, the butcher said.
It's
He usually
time off
bottoms
the
out.
window. Probably, I don't know whether it was a track he made a Horlicks, didn't he? But he's just one of those very frustrating horses. It will click one day.
There was some
Interesting
other...
to see what the winner goes up now.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, man.
9-length victory last time.
You're talking about, you are talking about not being far off a Hennessy type horse.
Well, he's 1-8 now.
What was the handicapper going to give him?
It'll be a mid 130s.
Nine for that, will he? Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I think so, Darren. All right, great stuff. Really exciting jump racing still coming your way. It is the feature 335 Scottish Grand National. We are in national season. We'll be getting that a little later on. Let's have your selections. Keep them coming in. This isn't the Grand National, but if you want to give us a 1, 2, 3, we will more than happily give it a chat. Selections coming in for the Scottish Grand National, please. But who wants a classic trial? Shall we go down to Newbury for the 210? It is the Dubai Duty Free Stakes. Registered, of course, is the Fred Darling Stakes. It's Group 3, been won by some top-notchers over the years. And we have a really strong favourite here. It is the Cheveley Park winner of last year, alcohol-free Darren Hughes.
Yeah, the highly touted alcohol-free for Andrew Balding and Oisin Murphy is 3.4, so just a tick under 5-2 in fractional odds on the exchange at the moment. Kultum, I don't know if I pronounced that right, finished third behind alcohol free last year for Richard Fahey and Paul Hannigan 8.0. Isabella Giles then for Clive Cox 9.6. Zajira 11.5, so about 10.5 to 1 for Jim Crowley. Happy Romance 16.0, and it's kind of similar prices and bigger the rest after that. And
who is the trade, Darren Hughes?
Yeah, I just think the prices don't reflect the difference between Isabella Giles and alcohol free enough. I think Isabella Giles is a small bit too big. I don't think the difference in price there is justified for the ability they showed last year. And there might be reason to believe that Isabella Giles' last run didn't really show her true ability. So I'm going to take a chance on here. Clive Cox with a double yet at bat, I think. So they are ticking along nicely. And I'm going to take a chance on her here in the win and place market. So, Mr. Collins, if you could have 30 quid on Isabella Giles in the win market for me, please.
Are we taking the price?
We are taking the price. 9.6 or thereabouts is perfect.
Sure, that's matched.
Good man. And then we'll go into the place market, then standard place market. There's 3 place betting, and she should be about 2 to 1 there. Touch above 2 to 1. We'll have a score on that, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darren Hughes.
So again, it's something I say regularly when I'm on. It's when I'm backing a horse, as opposed to backing it standard each way terms and having your 25 win and 25 place, I tend to go a tick bigger in the win market, so I'm getting rewarded more when I am right. And, the place part then will cover the bet if she just hit the frame.
Okay, thank you, Darren Hughes, and great stuff. Yeah, Isabella Giles wintered well, according to Clive Cox. If you read the quote in the paper this morning or on your members section, you would have seen that. She's got a lot of form on soft ground, but she has won on good, and apparently her work in Lambourne on the good ground has been pleasing all the way. And you can see, look, at the bottom of the screen where we bring all your social comments and your viewer interaction, you get the spotlight verdicts for free premium content for you then. I can tell you, it's Dave Bellingham that did the spotlights for this. He's gone for alcohol free, so he thinks the Fav will basically stay the trip and win. And Spotlight verdicts, the Spotlight writers have been lauded this past year. They've been absolutely on fire, and Dave is one of the best judges out there. Let me tell you that, alcohol-free for him. I reckon that Hughes' mates are probably watching this and going, Dave Orton doesn't know him very well. Alcohol-free, Darren Hughes? What are you on about? I said that, and hang on, I've had a Horlicks there. Batch, alcohol-free? You are alcohol-free these days, aren't you?
I used to be.
Oh, you're bang on it.
Bang on it now.
I wonder what that was earlier, Batch, when he walked. I was like,
I was going to say I was alcohol-free to turn up my career, but that didn't do anything good for 20 years, did it?
okay, so there you go. He's alcohol-free. No, you can see Robert. Get out of the picture, man. The senior producer's just come in. You wouldn't believe it, but Batch's mic, believe it or not, it's because you're throwing it all over the place,
I
Batch.
told them to use Duracell.
It was those batteries, wasn't it?
If you're wondering who that rear is that's walked into the studio, I do hope that the top brass are watching this show at the minute. It's Rob Lee, the Millwall. Absolutely. No manners whatsoever down there, they say. And it's just been proved. But are you back, Batch?
He's not even turning
Is he
it on.
back,
He's gone
Will?
off. He's not even turned it on.
He's not even turning. He's coming back in. If you weren't hearing Batch there, we were saying, are you still alcohol-free? He's not. He did go teetotal for a while. Winners all over the place. And then he slipped off that wagon.
Are we back? Are we back?
And he's out in Jersey winning the Guineas. You're back now. You're
We're back.
You did go alcohol-free though, didn't you?
Yes, for 20 years, Dave.
Oh, what? I don't know. What did you just kind of go, coming to the twilight of my career?
Well,
I might
to be
enjoy
honest, it's not being good when you've had a drink, chippy when you're 4'0". It's not a good combination.
You just need a thimble, do you?
Just
Batch?
a thimble, that's it, yeah, or a sniff. Someone walks past me. Yeah, but no, I like a little cider's my...
Quite right as well. You're getting to a certain age of life now, Badge. Let's face it, it's a global pandemic out there. We all need as much help as we can possibly get. I'm certainly not alcohol-free, and I'm certainly not with the jolly either. I guess, TC, looking at this market, we'll go back to get Batch's... The reason why she's so short is because if she stays... She's the one they all have to beat, right? But the market doesn't know. It almost looks like there's a lot of horses I don't want to say not off, but the market that not fancied in the market. We've got a mixed bag here, haven't we? Do you think she'll stay alcohol-free?
I think she'll stay. I just don't like her price.
She'll be a batch, basically. She'll teetotal, and when just as she's about to go off the start, she's going to get bang on it.
I just think she's too short. There's so many options in this race. I mean, you've got a mix of horses that... one type of horse that we have in this race is a horse we rarely saw as a juvenile, therefore could take a huge step forward, the likes of Zajira, Lucid Dreamer, Wild Iris. Then we've got the proven juveniles that are hoping to progress and become good 3-year-olds this year, like Happy Romance, Isabella Giles, and Coltham as well, who was very babyish last year. I expect she'll improve. And then you've got Alcohol Free, who's like in the middle. She had 3 starts last year. She's proven she was a good juvenile. She won a Group 1. And now she's looking to build on that this campaign. I think I'd be surprised if anyone would be backing this 11-4 shot and think that's good value in a race where there are so many improbables. The likes of Lucid Dreamer, who I fancy in the race just purely on the basis that she could take a big leap forward. Roger Charlton never gets his juveniles ready, really to fire 100% first in their first season. I just think you'd rather take a horse with potential to improve and match the likes of Alcohol Free at 12, 14-1 rather than Alcohol Free at 11-4.
What she did in the Shively Park as well, TC, it was all smooth for her, wasn't it? And she handled the dip better than Uncle Thumb, I think. That's why I've gone for Uncle Thumb. I watched that back over and over again. She won, of course, up at the Ayr, not the Grand National meeting, at the Ayr Gold Cup, of course. And that worked out really, really well, that race. She had a horse in third that's unbeaten since went to France and won a group race. And she was coming back at Alcohol Free. Of the two, I thought she probably would like the trip. She'll be uncomplicated. They're drawn right next to each other. Tactics on Alcohol Free will be interesting because what do they do, TC? If you're Oshie Murphy and Andrew Borden, they've talked about this the last couple of months. We know we're going to the Fred Darling. We're going to try and make her into a Guineas Hope. She is related to a Miler and Beyond, but that horse is by Camelot. She's, of course, by No Nay Never, who's a sprinter. It looks like she might be ending up in the Commonwealth Cup to me. What do you do tactics-wise? Do you let her, because obviously she likes to get on with it?
Yeah. I think Kasheen will probably try and take a lead if there isn't a lead there, because she has raced freely in the past, hasn't she? If there isn't a lead there, then he may be forced to go on with it. But I think he'll try to take a lead. She has a very nice American pedigree. However, Hardspur mare, No Nay Never, we saw him. Royal Ascot was really good for Wesley Ward and John Rosario. No Nay Never has progeny that stay the trip, which leads me to believe that Alcohol Free will stay. It would be interesting to see what Oisin does, because Oisin said in an Instagram Live interview thing that he did earlier this year that the two horses he was most looking forward to were Alcohol Free and Council, who runs in the novice event later today. So it's a big day for Oisin, I reckon. Hopefully get 2 winners.
Yeah. Otherwise, the bananas will be thrown at the screen, or the tomatoes. Absolutely, I understand how that one goes. Where are you going with this race, Batch?
I do like Isabella Giles.
Ooh, another agreement with Darren Hughes.
Yeah,
There's hope for us all yet.
impressive in the Group 2 at Newmarket, but then running the Group 1 and was a little bit too keen to run a race.
She ran in the Rockfell, didn't she?
Yeah,
Which is usually a really good Guineas trial. And she looked over the top to me in the Fillies Mile, wasn't she?
I'd agree with that,
quite
yeah.
get home.
One race too many.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I
Just
think so.
too much, too early. And going back to Alcohol Free and the race at Newmarket, Newmarket it's a tricky place for 2-year-olds. Now, obviously it's impressive, but you could get false results because a lot of them 2-year-olds don't handle that, especially when they go into the dip and come out the dip. They have to change their action a bit, and if some horses at that age, 2-year-olds, they still don't know where they're putting their
Yeah,
legs
right
and
mess,
what
don't
strides
they?
they're going in, and
See
then
it all the time.
Yeah, so it can be a bit of a false reading around there, and some horses handle Alcohol Free handled it probably better than the rest.
That's what I thought about Uncle Thumb. I definitely thought Alcohol Free did it the best. And the form has worked out well, hasn't it? Because the horse who was second, Miss Amulet, of course, went and nearly won a Breeders' Cup race. So I think we can say the form is strong. What do you think about it out there? Let's have a look. Who comes in? Andy Sim, good to have you back on this Sunday, Andy. And he says, Uncle Thumb looks a good thing each way. You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? Just Paul Hannigan, keep it simple, track the fav, and go and stick it up to her, I think, in the final furlong. She's definitely got a lovely attitude, Uncle Thumb. Andy Sim, I'm with you all the way. Stephen Hughes comes back onto the show and says, Isabella Giles here, can't believe the price. Difference with Alcohol Free. Hopefully we've answered that for you, Stephen. How are your multiples getting on, Stephen? All good? We haven't heard from you for a little while. Great to have you back on. Good stuff then. So we must talk about some other horses. In Happy Romance, a typical Hannon 2-year-old. Now, Richard Hannon has had, and Richard Hannon Senior have had horses since I've been in racing who constantly prove people wrong.
Yeah.
But I have got this down as a probable non-Guineas horse, let's put it that way. 7 furlongs might be fine this year. But she's got a massive legion of fans.
Yeah, she only cost 25,000. She's already earned over 200,000. That just shows how brilliant Richard Hannon is. 1, at buying horses, and then 2, campaigning them if they're a ready 2-year-old, ready to run. She had 7 starts. She won 4 times. She was brilliant last year.
Beat Alcohol Free.
She did, and then she finished 2 lengths behind her at Newmarket. So there's definitely collateral form there between the two. It's hard to imagine Happy Romance will take the same step forward this year as Alcohol Free. That's my view. I don't think horses that have a number of starts as a juvenile will then have the same amount of progression as a horse that's only had 2 or 3 starts. However, she's trained by Richard Hannon, as you say. People have.
Snow Lantern has already gone and done the business in the first for him.
I mean, he's in good form, isn't
They
he?
just prove people wrong a lot. They are masters at it.
I mean, it's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
Dandy man by absolutely. There's a lot of speed in the pedigree.
She was entered to run in over 7 furlongs at Goodwood last year and was taken out due to the ground. So Connections clearly think she'll stay.
That's where you try and find that extra bit of improvement, isn't it, basically? Zargira has been a gamble for this race as well. Jim Crowley, who won the last race, the late Sheikh Hamdan to, of course, Roger Varian, whose horses are running indifferently, I think. But someone said to me, Varian's horses aren't going well the other day. And I said, look, you've got to realise with Roger's horses that most of them start under probably the odds of what they should do. Mm-hmm. Not everything in the stable is a rocket. And he's judged on the market, TC, Roger Varian, isn't he?
Oh, very much so. He had a really nice winner the other day called Boomsheller at Kempton. And on that day, Varian had 2 horses that were incredibly well backed. Boomsheller was like 6-1 into 11-8. And then he had a newcomer that was 8-1 into evens. And then I saw on Twitter that he was getting a load of stick for the newcomer losing. I couldn't believe it. She ran a really good race as well in 4th.
He's a top man, Roger.
He's got one of the biggest string in Newmarket, isn't he?
Potentially, yeah. He's got so many horses. I went
over from the late Michael Jarvis, of course, and just a measure of
Josh Giffords.
Yeah, okay, yeah, was that right?
Yeah,
He's extremely intelligent man, Roger Varian.
Yeah, he was at Josh Giffords, and he had a few conditionals down there. He had Philip Hyde, Owen Burrows, who trains now.
Yes.
Roger Varian, and everyone had to go and wake him up. They couldn't get him out of bed in the morning. Now he's, yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Cheers, Rog.
So this one's a little bit sharper, but it has been backed. Once race maiden winners in this race, there aren't a lot of them. Running in group company at 2 seems to be a big tick. If you look in your members section at Kevin Morley's excellent column, you will see that. Kev Morland, of course, the doyen of 10-year trends. He would quickly put a line through that. Lucid Dreamer is interesting, isn't she? We've got Dan Dallow is here. We've not even mentioned Dan Dallow, of course, who won at Royal Ascot last year. Frankie Dettori and John Gosden on one for the Bamfords. Wild Iris, your old crew.
The Lady Bamford, yeah. Good, yeah. Do their box at Cheltenham every year.
She's
they missed
mad
the
enough to have you doing the hospitality. You can tell what sort of
Well-
part it is in there.
Oh, it is some place. I don't know if I've told the story before, but when the new boxes were built, she went into the building and they said, "Oh, Lady Bamford, your box is down here." No, she said. She went to the far end, looked at every box, went into hers, went, "Yes, mine's the best."
That was when Sam Vesty was running the show. The late Sam Vesty, of course, how missed his Lord Sam. And of course, I seem to remember there was a bit of a fight up for who was getting the best winning line boxes that year. I remember that, yeah. OK, so Wild Iris, what could she be? Auntie Bridie, of course, debuting for Haggis.
When do you ever see a John O'Thaley Gosden, Frankie Dettori, unbeaten filly golf at 14-1? Never. This race is going to produce so many winners. It just looks full of talented performers. Even VAR Dreams, 50-1, basically given no chance by the market today, was a really impressive winner at Newcastle on debut. Steps
He
up
was
in
my
trip.
second choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Very, very close to putting him up, especially at the price. Just leant towards Isabella Giles at the form in the book. But yeah, I'd agree that run at Newcastle was pretty good now. And it's something that's happened in recent years. There's nothing wrong with them all-weather runs. Like, maybe a
Definitely
decade
not.
ago you'd have gone, that form isn't as good. But certainly in the last 5-6 years, you've seen many, many top performers start out on the all-weather, particularly at Newcastle. And go on to bigger and brighter things afterwards.
I think if you have backed one of these lesser exposed fillies, because of the year that we had last year with COVID, there were a lot of horses that didn't get the preps that they wanted to. Don't you remember, of course, they didn't start until June. So there's going to be a lot of really good backward horses, I think, coming out. If you think about the Gosden, farm, where's the Guineas horse? I mean, it's McGannon, isn't it? It's okay. He might well go and do it, but I don't know. He didn't have a top 3-year-old coming here, but so we're expecting them basically to show themselves on the all-weather. He's had a couple of hand-downs, of course, come out and won very impressively. They'll probably go on to group races. So if you're on Wild Iris, don't worry about it, I don't think. We've got Michael Stout horse here. So Michael Stout horse at 80-1 as well. Villa de Grace, beaten favourite last time out, but won well on the all-weather first time out. OK, they are all in then. Good luck wherever you're playing. In the 2021 Fred Darling Stakes, will we see a shake-up in the Guineas market, the 1,000 Guineas on the first Sunday in May. We'll be covering that for you here on RP Live. Cannot wait for the first classics in May. Alcohol-free then, what price is she? She looks like she's drifting out a bit, Darren.
Yeah, she is a drifter. She's 4.1 now, Dave. She was matched at a low of 3.25, so about 9-4 out to 3-1. Colton 7.8, kind of pretty steady. A few quid for Isabella Giles. I think we got 9.6, Tom, was it, on the trade that we did. She's now 8.4. Zajira then 13. Happy Romance 13 from 16 as well. So, yeah, look, as Tom alluded to there, it is kind of a guessing game to an extent. There's a lot of ones beside a lot of horses here that we don't really know what that form amounts to, but I'd say we're going to find out in the next 2.5 minutes, hopefully.
Thank you, Darren. Yeah, we're 5 minutes over post time, aren't we? So we've got the Scottish Champion Hurdle coming up. At 2.25, but we are off and running in the Fred Darling Stakes in spread across the track. This is going to be a nightmare call. They're going centre pack, perhaps. No surprise there. No one wants to know the far side. And it's Lucid Dreamer. Jason Watson had the third, didn't they, of course, in an El Gwyn in the week for his boss, Roger Charlton. She's showing the way. She was impressive last time out here at Newbury. Isabella Giles, nice and full of herself up there as well. What sort of pace are they going, TC?
They're going a reasonable gallop early on, but interesting if you're on Coltham, much closer to the speed than any point last year in her 4 runs. She was out the back and she's in second on the far side at this stage.
It's a complete topsy-turvy of what happened in the Cheveley Park Stakes because alcohol-free is now the target on her back. Batch, what's catching your eye?
Giles, I think she's travelling well.
Adam Kirby keeping it simple, isn't
I
he?
think Owen was doing a bit too much too early. Tom,
Was keen early on. Alcohol Free's also moved right out, no cover on the outside at this stage.
Zajira's going well off the pace as well. Will an inexperienced catch her out? She's going really well. Has she got a little
Kirby
bit too
looks
far
really
back?
happy.
Here we are.
Doesn't he?
Adam Kirby, then Isabella Giles getting excited now, guys. Alcohol Free coming up. She's hanging. Will she stay? That's the big question. We're about to find out. Coltham is digging deep on the far side. What's this coming in between runners?
Happy Romance.
This is Statement as well for Martin Mead. He does spoil the old party. Is he going to do it here? If you're on the fav, I'll tell you what, start to get excited. Alcohol Free. She's got Statement on her inside the course. When is she going to get caught? Is she going to get caught on the line? Oh, I think she just held on.
Yeah.
Has she just held on?
Yeah,
Alcohol Free. Wow.
Yeah, Exchange has her holding on. She's 1 to 12. Oh, yeah, 1 to 12 in the run. Looks like she just did get her head down at the right time, but Statement there was matched at a low of 1.3, so 3 to 10. 106 in the Exchange at the moment. Alcohol Free 101. No offers now. No, look, she is up. Look for all the world like she was going to be chinned at one point. Good ride from Oisin Murphy. Probably come up the wrong side as well, I'd say. But very fascinating finish to the race. Isabella Giles emptied out pretty quickly there. She hit a low of.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to be impressed with her, I think.
Early on. Yeah, you will. Yeah, that was good. Now she put her head down very much so. I think she'll have no issue getting the mile when it comes to the Guineas in a few weeks' time.
A lot of you out there would have been Alcohol Free all the way, and I bet you're not now after you just cheered that one home. Going to need a drink to steady the nerves back. You'd be on the thimble, wouldn't you, if you're screaming that one home?
That's just didn't like the head carriage there, the favour there. Just a little
hung
bit.
a bit, didn't she?
A little
I think
bit, yeah.
Oisin did such a good job to manage to get her to run straight while she was hanging at the same time and get her head down on the line. I'm going to go out. I'll probably get some stick on socials for this.
Here we go.
I think she was a bad bet, although she won. The price was ridiculously short. Yes, she won. So if you backed her, you're getting your return, and you're thinking, well, there we go. I've got the winner there. I still think she was a bad bet. That's a race where there's plenty of horses in there. Statement's almost beating her at a much bigger price. VAR Dream ran a great race. I think 3rd or 4th. Primo Batchelor as well, a huge price, ran well, 125 to 1. I mean, 11 to 4 and you've won by a nose, you're celebrating, but as a punter, long term, those are the horses you don't want to be backing, I think.
On another day, that second horse could turn the tide. So it's literally off the line, the nod of the head. She in front, isn't she?
Yeah, 9 to 4.
So let's
Yeah.
So Darren, as soon as it comes into you, please, my man, give us the odds for the 1,000 guineas, May the 2nd, I think, isn't it? So when that comes out,
Darren, it is indeed. Yeah, May 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I think, or 2nd or 3rd. Yeah,
we'll let your traders deal with that one, Darren. But let's talk about the form here, guys. While Darren gets us a price, I'll tell you what, that Primo Batchelor was a huge eye catcher in 3rd. Holly Toll got in all sorts of trouble out the back, and she has absolutely eaten up the ground to finish 3rd. Wow, what an eye catcher for Ed Walker. They'll be getting excited about that. And you're right, this was great horsemanship, wasn't it, I think, TC?
Brilliant.
But she's beaten a horse that's rated 86, albeit Martin Meads, they just go out to buy Group 1 winners, that's all they want. Smallest string, but they just aim at the stars. I think it's fair to say we've definitely got a Group winner in waiting there in Statement. Isabella Giles, run of the race pretty much with Lucid Dreamer, has held on for 3rd. She just fell into 4th as well, didn't it? Okay, so fell in a bit of a hole. So what I'm trying to say is she's rated, we know that she is nearly Group 1 class, or was as a 2-year-old. We're seeing a lot of horses mixed bag-wise. Dan Dalla's there. Coltham is the one that hasn't
They'll
really
bring that
got
back
home.
in trip. They've got to.
Yeah.
Coltham.
Yeah,
That's
don't
6
stay.
furlongs.
Don't stay for me.
I think there are going to be plenty of future winners out of that race. Vardream was my biggest eye catcher. I know Primo Batchelor finished really well. She was an eye catcher, but I think she was passing beating horses because she was out the back and obviously was going much slower early than her rivals. Vardream travelled, to me, like the best horse in the race. Now, she obviously didn't have the same turn of foot as Alcohol Free, who Oisin was definitely just riding on one hand for about a furlong. It's ridiculous horsemanship. But Vardream, I think, is a real nice horse, a group horse potentially in the making. Here's a question for you. So Snow Lantern, what was she? 10 to 1 for the Guineas? She was giving quotes. Have you seen the quote for Alcohol Free?
Go on.
If you haven't seen it, what price do you reckon?
Oh, Darren Hughes, help me out here.
Got to be bigger.
No, go on, have a guess. I have it here in front of you. Have a guess.
Would you go short? Who would you rather back at this stage for the Guineas? Alcohol Free or Snow Lantern?
Snow Lantern all day long.
Right. So okay, what price is Alcohol Free then, Darren?
10 from 12 with us. I don't know.
Same
it might
price.
Be shorter out.
That's a bit ridiculous, isn't it, for a Group 1 winner who's proven at Newmarket? And so what you're saying is, TC, the bookmakers are not impressed.
Well, exactly. She's won a Group 1, Snow Lantern's won a maiden, and they're the same price. Now, I'm not saying I'd rather back Alcohol Free or Snow Lantern either way, but at the point, the bookmakers have decided that both have an equal chance. Yeah, this horse is a Group 1 and now a Group 3 winner, whereas Snow Lantern's just won a maiden.
But on the two performances...
We'll just say the second is 20 from 56 as well. Sorry, Matty, didn't mean to put a
Sorry, that's
ahead. Just said.
On the two performances today,
Yeah.
you'd go Snow, wouldn't you?
She was more visually impressive. I'll be interested to see what the time of this
I
race
think on the
was.
book you've got to be with alcohol free. That would be my way of looking at it.
talking
She's
point,
a
isn't
Group
it?
1 winner. She is.
Oh, yeah.
She's proven at the
versus
track.
form,
That's the key, I think, Batch. If you're
Yeah.
proven at Newmarket, and you've
Yeah.
got to, I think it's a lot to play for there. Snow Lantern. Who would you rather be with? Alcohol free or Snow Lantern? Let us know. Bookmakers unimpressed. I don't know. I was fairly impressed with that. Of course, it's another furlong as well. But the way she hung and she went on there, I don't know, that looked like a bit of a rusty performance for me. She still managed to pull it out the fire. Uncleton didn't stay, but she's beaten her a lot further. We must go up to Ayr, though. It is the Scottish Champion Hurdle. We're right on the back of this because there was a delay in the Fred Darling. Darren Hughes, get your trade in, my man.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different here again. Tom, can you go in there and hit the lay box on Fab Milkwood, please? But can you set the price to even money? We're going to set up an in-run and lay on the favourite Milkwood. My reason for this is, now this horse broke my heart in the county hurdle. I had a significant wager at about 40 to 1 in the morning on him, and he hit a low of 1.2 in the run. I was fairly jumping up and down now. I thought he was going to do the business for me, but he has had a habit throughout his career of getting beaten at fairly short odds. So as in, if you even go his last 5 runs, he got turned over at 1.2, which is 1 to 5 at Cheltenham, turned over at 15 to 8 in Newbury, 11 to 10 in Post last, which is a flat track. You can't even blame the Cheltenham here. He's done it before at flatter tracks, with easier tracks to get around. Beaten again in Wincanton 1 to 2 in the run. It's just, when you get horses like this that have had a habit of being turned over at pretty short prices more than once or twice in their career, it can pay to set up these in-run and lays on them. And they're going to win races sometimes, but I think it can be a profitable strategy. So what we're doing here is, he's obviously 7 to 2 now. Not really that keen on laying him at 7 to 2. What I think is he'll travel into this quite well. He could hit evens in the run, and I'm happy then to lay him at that price. So I'm setting it up for when the race starts.
Okay, so taking on Millwood. Yeah, we saw Third Time Lucky was the horse in the county hurdle. Locked on was with him a long way out, wasn't it? And he didn't really fire an entry as well, although Belfast Banter, the winner of the county, has since gone in. So bit of a mixed bag.
Don't talk with that horse. I followed him all around Bellewstown and everywhere else last summer.
Gave up the ghost, did we?
Honest to God, I tried to put him in a maiden herd in Bellewstown last summer. He cost me.
It's only taken 4 races and he's now off. There he is.
He's rocked up in the.
I wish his batteries would go.
Exactly. Cut Darren off. We'll let him have his own rant. I'll tell you what, argument in a phone box that bloke could have. Okay, so listen, Belfast Banter, remarkable transformation for Peter Fahey, who of course has got a runner in the Scottish National. Our big race coming your way at 3:35. We've still got another classic trial, of course, at Newbury to come, but we must concentrate on this Scottish Champion Hurdle against Millwood. Millwood is Darren Hughes. Mattie Batch, whittle through the tips, please, on this.
Milkwood, it's a tough race to come out of the county hurdle, and even a few weeks after to come and run a good race up at Ayr. I like Tommy's Oscar.
Yes, so do I.
Horse.
Yeah,
Beat
he's a lovely horse.
Christopher Wood. That's good, solid form for me.
Beat him easily, didn't he?
Yeah, beat him easily at Kelso, and he's in form, and yeah, I think he's got a great chance at a nice price as well.
He's up £6 for Anne Hamilton and Danny McMenamon, leading conditional jockey. I like him as well. It just might be sharp enough for him, I think, but he's definitely going up. And I thought 138 was still definitely within his compass. TC.
I really like him as well. I think he's a really nice horse, Tommy's Oscar. And it should be worth pointing Anne and Ian Hamilton. They've only got 9 or 10 horses, but their horses are just, they have nuts well. Tommy's Oscar, Pay the Piper, Babington Bob. They're all really good.
That was an old tongue tie, wasn't it? It was absolutely.
Peter Pepper.
We've got a number 1 fan here at the Hamilton room.
She does so well with such a small string. I'm not going to be.
She had a nice novice winner the other day too.
Exactly.
Kelso, Hello Judge.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull up in a point with everyone.
She does phenomenally well with these horses. I'm not actually with him here, though I think he'll run a good race. I just thought at the prices, Glory and Fortune was the value, around 20 to 1, purely because his form matches in with Milkwood and Time White. He was beaten.
And has since gone in and won, hasn't it?
Yeah, beaten by a nice horse trained by the Skeltons last time.
Flag is up then, guys. And they're off and running then in the 2021 Scottish Champion Hurdle. That was all a bit quick previewed there for you. Let's hope you managed to get a trade in along the way because we had a delay at Newbury. But we are off and running. And I'll tell you what, he's taking a right old pull out in front, Glory and Fortune, isn't he, for Johnny Burke and Tom Lacey. But will he drop his head? Looks like he will do. Miss Heritage, she's so consistent. Miss Heritage, Aidan Coleman taking the ride this day. She's running a little bit bit more prominent than she usually does. Sharper track for her. Who else have we got there? Anna Bonina, Brian Hughes on the inside. No messing about from Brian this time. And Tommy's Oscar, a little bit keen in just behind Batch.
Yeah, a bit keen.
Time White got a lovely sit on the inside. Diego de Charmel finally back to winning ways at Plumpton last time, wasn't he? I'll tell you what, he's more than talented enough. Angus Chalada claiming 7 to take this out. All he needs is a bit of good ground. Harry Skelton on Calico. How good could he be? He's sitting out the back at the moment with Scarlet Dragon. Of course, the Royal Ascot winner on the flat last year. TC, you're on the one in front. He's gone clear.
Yeah, he's travelling really nicely. He's a massive, big, imposing type who will just relish a fence in time. He's potentially gone off a little bit too hard at this stage, but he seems to have settled quite nicely. He's pricking his ears, and at this stage, at around 20 to 1, you can't be complaining, I don't think.
Top tips to Paul Keeley in the Racing Post. Spoke to him on Friday. He made a very good argument to me about Time White in this, of course. Came back from a break in the Betfair hurdle, ran really well, ran well in the Scottish, in the county as well. Said Keels didn't quite get home over the stiff one. Thinks this will all be ideal. Lots of money for him, Darren Hughes. But since they've jumped off, who does the exchange like? Is it another front runner?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Glorian Fortune 6.6 from 7.8, about 11.2 from 13-2. Milkwood holding his price 4.6 from 7.2. We'd like him to shorten up and get our lane before he gets beat. Tommy's Oscar, who the lads gave a good mention to there, 9-2, 5.6 from 7.45. So long way to go yet, but yeah, certainly Glorian Fortune just drifted back out there. Must have clattered one, did he? While I was looking at the exchange odds. He's about the same price as he went off. So.
Okay, Batch, let's come to you then. Are you absolutely right, Darren? He did get in tight to one. If you're on Glorian Fortune now, is he running himself into the ground a bit?
Yeah, he just jumped them last two a little bit sloppy. He sort of bunny hopped them on all fours, just went through the top of them a little bit. Yeah, it put me off a little bit now.
Time White had a shake of the reins then as Calico starts creeping closer. Tommy's Oscar on the outside side. So once again, could this be Harry Skelton and Brian Hughes? Brian Hughes sits in third on Anna Bonina. She's going perfectly well at the moment. Diego de Charmel getting closer. Yeah, Time White not sure exactly how he's going. Miss Heritage looks like she's had one run too many. She's dropping out the back of the telly at the minute. Milkwood creeping closer. More patient tactics today for Neil Mulholland's charge. Will they work out? I reckon you're going to get matched, Darren, because I definitely think he's going to have a say of the action. Who's going to win it now, TC?
If I was betting him running, I'd be looking at Anna Bonina. I think she's travelling the best
really
in
well,
this field at this stage.
Yeah, she is, yeah.
The mare for John Connell is really good target trainer for Ireland as well. Could this be another one going the Irish way? All right, then, we're turning in. We've got 3 more to jump. I'll tell you what, they are all packing up in behind. Tommy's Oscar now going to have a little bit of a say, putting up to Glorian Fortune. Calico cruises.
Milkwood still
Here
travelling.
comes Milkwood.
Still travelling well.
Here comes Milkwood for you out then. If you're going with the simple fav, Darren's taking it. I'll tell you what, Tommy's Oscar's got lows left. He's not going to want this to turn into too much of a tactical sprint up, though.
No,
just
he won't.
goes slightly out to his right. Look at Milkwood, guys. This is absolutely cruising, isn't it? Sam Twiston Davies is laughing at them in a minute. What will he produce? I'll tell you what, this is all over, isn't it? Okay, Anna Bonina goes for it then. We come into the last now. Calico just feeling the pinch a little bit, not totally out of it. Tommy's Oscar doing all he goes, but this is all over, surely, isn't it? Milkwood all the way. What does he produce? Yes, this is a big payday for him. Anna Bonina and Brian Hughes going to come off second best. Tommy's Oscar did find it that little bit too sharp, didn't he? He's running on stoutly again for third. Nice horse they've got for fences next year there. The 3 pull clear of Calico in fourth and Glorian Fortune just a little bit too keen out in front. Darren Hughes, you wanted to lay him, but my goodness me, they changed the tactics. The pace was ideal. That was like watching the Jinsky, man.
Yeah, well, we won't say that, but look, it was very good. Look, we got the lane at evens, unfortunately, but that was kind of what I expected to happen. Was him travelling to the race that well. I just thought he mightn't see it out quite as well. He's done that in the past, but no, good performance at a high of 5.3 in the run. Tommy's Oscar probably just isn't as quick a horse as Milkwood. He had a low of 3.0 in the run, from a BSP of 7.45. Anna Bonina, who he also caught the eye in the run for Brian Hughes. She hit a low of 2.52, so about 6-4 from a BSP of about 8.5 to 1 or 9 to 1. So yeah, look, winner's done it well. Like I said, that county hurdle looks like it's a pretty good race now between obviously the winners and not been a grade 1 and Midwood has followed up. So unfortunately didn't go our way. Not what we wanted, but good result for Neil Mulholland and for the Sam Twiston Davies.
A strong travelling Milkwood then takes out the Scottish champion, Neil Mulholland. We've got a massive fan base out there, Neil, because he plots his horses well and he gets it with when he gets on a roll. Not the sort of Sam Twiston Davis ride you're often used to with Sam, but that must have been enjoyable for him, Batch.
Yeah, he rides a lot for Nige and they're always up in the van. But I think Milkwood showed a nice turn of foot there.
Oh,
So
yes.
just done the other second and third for a bit of toe, I think.
You have to make these notes, TC, don't you, for next season? Miltwood, because he's going to probably... I think he'll probably stay over hurdles, won't he? I would imagine.
do.
I mean, 1, 4, 2. So what's he going to go up for that? 8?
Yeah, probably around there.
Playing it safe with 7.
Yeah.
We always say £7. Play it safe if you're not sure. But that will push him up towards, graded company, won't it? But make your notes. Flat track, good ground, Miltwood. We've seen a real decent, classy model.
He looks
there,
like a proper hurdler as well, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
I don't see
Yeah,
that
I
one
wouldn't
going
be
chasing.
rushing over the fence with him.
No,
I wouldn't be
he
rushing over the
flicks
fence
through the
with him at all.
top what you want a perfect hurdler to do and doesn't
Yeah.
waste time in the air. And
Anna Bonina run well there in second.
yeah,
Yeah, she travelled so well throughout.
Yeah.
She just didn't have the same gears as Milkwood in the closing stages.
She was
But
only beaten 5 lengths, wasn't she, in the county as well?
Yeah.
So once again, Darren's right. The county hurdle being really well advertised, isn't it? I'm really happy for horses like Milkwood when they get that sign-off win, because they dance all the dances, don't they? And you can easily jump off and think they're not quite good enough. But this is the time of year when you often get to know exactly what a horse needs. Make your notes for next year.
Anna Bonina looks like one of those horses. She travels, and you think I've only got to press the button,
Yeah.
and they
It
just
just doesn't
nothing
happen.
there.
Not a great deal there. She runs
Not a
on the
great
flat as
deal
well,
there.
doesn't she? But John Connell, he gets these horses, John McConnell, and they, again, find the right races for them. That would be the run of her life, I would imagine. All right, then. That was the Scottish Champion Hurdle. We're around about an hour away from the Scottish Grand National. Some of the greats have won it over the years. Who's your favourite Scottish Grand National winner over the years? Do you remember 2004 when Grey Abbey won it? Young Kenny in 99.9. All these horses, you have great
Is that Barry
memories.
Fenton?
It probably was
Young
Barry Fenton,
Kenny.
wasn't he? Paris Pike at the turn of the millennium, one of my favourite horses. Paris Pike for Ivan Straker in the black colours. It was absolutely
What
fantastic.
did PJ McDonald win it on the flat jockey now for Murphy?
Shouts. Ferdy Murphy.
Ferdy Murphy.
That wasn't
Green and white
Hot
colours.
Weld. Hot Weld?
Hot Weld. Might have been
I
Hot
have to
Weld.
search
you
that.
know
I can't.
what I mean? Oh, TC.
I was just
I'll
about
take
to
that
go
one.
like that then.
Yeah, I thought I'd tell you. I searched it. Didn't want to take the.
Get these people in life, don't you, who ask you a question knowing the answer. I sort of do everything. Oh, Dave, that was TC, absolutely. I loved it how you kind of tried to play it. That you
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Hot Weld.
Yeah, was it?
Actually brilliant. It was Hot Weld, of course. We have seen over the years, haven't we, jumps jockeys making the transition to flat. Of course, PJ was one of the first to do it, but Jim Crowley as well
Jim
was
Crowley,
one. Dougie Costello.
Dougie Costelli, Paddy
Trevor
Aspel.
Wheeler.
Trevor Whelan. He's
Trevor-
at work riding, I think, any Trevor Whelan. But
He's over at Joseph's now. Joseph O'Brien,
Yeah,
I
I
think.
think so,
Yeah.
with Leighton
he is,
Aspel,
yeah.
of course. Yeah. So look, they can all do it. It's amazing what you see over the years. We've got a real cracker coming up next to Ayr, of course. The Novice Chase, All Mankind. Will he see out the trip? Tamarack to Mathan. Great lineup, that is. But back to Newbury we go for another classic trial. What a Sunday we're having here on Racing Post Live. Keep your social selections coming in. Give us all the viewer interaction. We love it out there. We'd love to hear from you. You can do that on YouTube. Of course, Facebook Live. If you're on our media channels, welcome along. If you're watching the clips on Twitter, hashtag RP Live. Get involved. We love the feedback. We read it after the show always. And the big race of the day, 3:35, is the Scottish Grand National, as we mentioned. So let's go for the Greenham, shall we? Are we going to see another Frank Lear TC?
Not a Frankel, but hopefully a nice horse in Chindit. I've been fancying him for the 2000 Guineas since last year.
You stole my thunder there. Yeah, he's my Guineas horse. I
Yeah.
absolutely love him. I think he's
Who?
class.
Thunderstorm? Who?
Chindit.
Chindit?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Have we got? Do you think that's going to win the Guineas?
Yeah, I think so. I thought last year as well when he was, what was it? Was it the Champagne State?
Champagne Stakes he won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a really nice race. The second and third are good horses. And after that day, I put him up in one of our anti-post flat pieces that we write in the Racing Post as my horse to follow next year. Thought he was a good prospect for the Guineas. He's with the right trainer in Richard Hannon, and this is a perfect starting point for him. So they decided
his
to come
ground,
here.
isn't he?
Yeah, decided to come here instead of the Craven, and I think he's going to be the best horse and hopefully win.
Okay, and Darren, I could hear you agreeing with TC there, as our viewers did. Is he going to be the trade?
He's not going to be the trade. I'm going to do something a small bit different. We'll just run down through the betting here very quickly. Shindig is 2.82, so a little bit shorter, between 15 to 8 and 7 to 4 from a high of 3.55. Fundamental down from Frankie looking to get off to his first winner at 7.2. Alchemate 9.2. Nando Parando, last year's Royal Ascot winner, 14.5. Mooj Bar 11.0, and it's kind of bigger prices the rest. And Nando Parado is going to be the trade here. We're going to lay him in the 4-place market. This horse just screams to me like an absolute 2-year-old. Like, I just don't think he's going to hit the height he hit last year. And even, he won the He won the Coventry at 150 to 1 at Ascot last year, having beaten in his novice race. And finished second in a Group 1 after that, and in 2 Group 1s after that, sorry. But I just feel like last year was his year, and whatever he did, that's kind of all he's going to amount to, really. I could be wrong, could be egg on my face now in a few minutes, but we're going to get after him, and I'm going to lay him in the 4th place mark. That's basically betting that the horse will not be in the front 4. So, Tom, if you can go in there, please hit the pink box, and we'll set it up for 2.74. We won't just take the price. We're trying to lay him around the 4 to 7 mark.
Same
and if
50?
you can, same 50, yeah, liability at 50, please.
There we go. All done. Just waiting
Thank
to be
you.
matched.
We'll see. Yeah, hopefully we get that match shortly.
Well, there's been a lot of agreement on this panel thus far today. Darren Hughes agreeing with a lot of people. Once again, the disagreement must strike, because I thought Nando Prado was the value play here, Darren. I've got to be honest. The ground, I guess, is something, and if you read your quotes in the paper or your member section today, drying ground is new territory for him, says trainer Clive Cox. However, if you go back to his debut, when he got beaten, the only time he's run on good to firm, you had to be near the rail that day. A horse called Bright Devil won it. Oshie Murphy on the rail. That stands rail at Newmarket is, when the stands side is used for the stalls, it's ridiculous, the bias that you got there. He had to go, he dwelt the start, he had to go all the way out the outside. It just wasn't the best of him. 150 to 1 he won the country, as Hughes just said, and that was the biggest SP ever at Royal Ascot. He then had a bit of a break, didn't he? And he went to France. I thought it was the soft ground that was sort of holding him back a little bit. So he ticks a lot of boxes for this. Historically, a mark of 111 puts him bang there. So unlike Alchemate and Chindit, who got bogged down in the Dewhurst on their last start at Newmarket, forget that. They come back onto their ground. I think the reason why he's so weak in the market, probably Isabella Giles didn't quite run up to form, did she, in the Fred Darling? And this chap, he just seems constantly underrated to me. I know he was favourite in France when he went over there, but it was a fairly weak race. I think he was expected to do it. I don't think he ran badly at all. It's just a value pick for me. Alchemate is also like as well, but Nando Prado on top for me. I'm going against Darren Hughes. Mattie Batch.
Well, Tom's convinced me on Chindit. I'm sold. I'll give
He
Fundamental.
thinks he's going to win the big one.
I know, yeah. I'm just in awe of him now after the old Scottish Grand National. After the old Grand National. After the old Grand National search on Google. That's the best search I've ever seen.
I can imagine him in his mate's garden yesterday. I bet he's reading him right off.
Oh, yeah.
And everything, like giving it the large.
I'll go with Fundamental then. Something.
Well, Fundamental is...
Nice win at Chelmsford last time
I'm
out.
surprised that he is so short in the betting
race.
Fundamental.
Yeah.
I think he's been... If he wins this, I'll be absolutely amazed. I can't believe he's 9-2. Perhaps he was one of these backward Gosden also I was mentioning pre-Fred Darling, that didn't quite have the campaign as normal, didn't have the early season, but I'd be against him. He's got £13 to find, according to the handicapper with Chindit, and I know horses can change from 2 to 3 dramatically, but if I was laying one in this, Fundamental would be the one for me. Not for me, Batch.
Okay.
Back. He's thinking. We've got one of these owners group sources in this, haven't we? With the Learjet, of course, second in the Grand National, Balco de Flo. A lot's been said about that, but Oshie Murphy going for a quick double here, Royal Ascot winner.
Yeah, I think the Learjet, like Darren said about Nando Prado being a 2-year-old, I think the Learjet is a prime 2-year-old. He's by Prince of Lear, who was a very precocious sort on the track, and he produces very precocious horses as well himself. The Learjet was a good 2-year-old, but he seemed to lose his way towards the back end of the year. He had a hard season. He went over to the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland. He ran okay to finish mid-div against a field that probably wasn't very good. Fire at Will won that for, I think it's Mike Maker, Fire at Will. And he's a pretty average sprinter. So I don't think the Learjet's potentially going to win today, and I don't think he's going to have a very good season either. I think he'll struggle in this kind of company.
Who was he having his 6th run, TC, or something? And like you say, he did do a lot of travelling.
Yeah, lots of travelling. He had 6 runs last year. So first time up this year. He won first time up last year, so you know that he goes well fresh. It's just, he has...
Twilight now, isn't he, as we call it in horse racing. Where do you go? You're sort of stuck a little bit, aren't you? Yeah. Let's hear from a man who's having a good day then. A viewer out there, Chris Timms, I hear you having a really good day. And in the next, at Newbury, Chindit to win, Nando Prado each way. What a diplomatic... a viewer comment that is. 4 places then. Okay, Darren, is that the way? What price is Nando Prado in the 4-place market, Darren?
We tried laying him there 2.74, and I think that's what we might have got the full amount traded. He's now 2.62 to back, 2.76 to lay, so he's between 7 to 4 and about 13 to 8 at the moment. on the exchange in the 4th place market.
Oh, I like that, Chris. I'm with you. And if you're having a good day, a little bit of shine on me, please. I'm expecting Nando Prado to run well here. It is the Fred Darling. We've been won by some absolute crackers. Yes, of course, we're not going to see another Frankel here, but Kingman has won it, of course. What else has won it?
Mujabar, is that any good?
He was
Mujar.
he was interesting last year.
Won a Group 3, did he?
Yeah, he travelled so well that day.
Hock deep that day, though, wasn't it, the ground?
It was, and nothing was coming from behind apart from him. So there is a clear reason why you could be with Mujbar. And he's only had 4 starts for Charlie Hills, who's not a trainer that would necessarily be at the top of your shortlist for 2-year-olds. I'd say Charlie Hills. He seems to make his horses progress run after run and potentially get better as 3-year-olds. He's by Muhara. There's lots of speed there. 7 furlongs though isn't a problem. Maybe up to a mile, I imagine, after that heavy ground victory last year. But here's a player in here at 9-1. Not a bad price either.
His horses are in pretty good health, I think, aren't they? We're hearing, of course, because of the year that we've had, especially hearing horses in Newmarket in particular, and probably Lambourne as well, they had just a clear run, with the weather and all that sort of stuff. Yes, it was wet, but they were able to get on the turf and all that sort of thing. So no excuse, really. Charlie Hills is also running quite well. Did you see Fantasy Believer when at Kempton last week in the feature handicap? This is a horse that missed the break by about 10 lengths. It came through and beat the horse that I backed, a horse called Silver Samurai, and you had to see it to be. I believe you had a nice horse called Crossford as well in a handicap that got beaten.
He was unlucky, I thought. He bumped into a good
green as grass, Crossford, that day. He strikes me as a Buckingham Palace type horse or something like that later on. Maybe he's got a big one in him, I think. So look, Charlie Hills is having a good one. You mentioned Muhara there as well. He's one of my favourite sprints of all time, Muhara.
Very good, wasn't he?
Just loved him. When they retired him, I was absolutely crushed. I was expecting another big one. Batash still coming back, of course. He's at Gelding. Looking forward to that. So much to come our way here on RP Live during the flat season. Of course, we've got 2 more to come from Ayr, haven't we? And a couple more from Newbury as well. We've got the 320 handicap coming up, haven't we, after this, the Spring Cup, which is, you often see horses coming from the Lincoln to it, or this is like, this is where the big players for the Hunt Cup tend to emerge. I really like Nugget in that, by the way.
So do I.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's interesting he's been well backed as well. Him and Matthew Flinders, who I think has been put up by Pricewise and Paul Keeley, hence the support. But I am with you with Nugget.
Yeah, I love a nugget. Yeah. The old barbecue sauce.
Lovely, isn't it?
Love
barbecue. Barbecue over ketchup.
Yeah, on a nugget.
Really?
On a nugget.
Don't know how I feel about that, Batch.
The paths we go down here. Turns out that Tom Collins could do limericks, and absolutely fantastic. Mattie Batchelor showing us what a jockey's diet should be. Okay, Darren Hughes. Let's go back to this Greenham. Who's hot and who's not?
Who is hot and who is not? It is currently 3.0 Shinded, so small little bit weak when we last looked. He was 2.82 at that stage. We drifted out to about 2-1. Fundamental, the one for money, 5.7 from I think about 7.2 when we last checked. So about 92 from 6-1. Alchemade 13.0. Nanda Brando quite weak, 15.5, 16.0. So hopefully we can keep him out of the 4 places. Mujbar holding his price 10.5. Rhythm Master similar around 12.0. So competitive little heat here coming up. I'd be hoping Shindy can do the business and then go on to Newmarket in a couple of weeks' time and do it again.
I tell you what, that is really interesting, isn't it? You just think about the Irish horse, the O'Brien horse, and that, but Hannon Yards have taken out Guineas before, so I wasn't thinking that Chindit would be the top of Tom Collins' anti-post selections for the Guineas.
Well, if you're looking at the Guineas anti-post market right now, you've got one ruler who's the favourite, obviously highly touted. He's the talk of Newmarket, isn't he?
Like him.
For Charlie Appleby. He's going straight to the Guineas, so you're going to have to take 1, fitness on trust, and 2, that he's progressed from 2 to 3, because we haven't actually seen, unless you've been lucky enough to go to the Gallops and watch him work.
They are having a good time, Godolphin and Charlie Appleby.
They are.
At the moment, aren't they?
But then they won the Craven the other day with Master of the Seas. I wasn't that impressed, I thought his performance was
came
decent.
clear, TC, didn't they? I thought whether that's a Guineas win or not, I don't know. But I thought it was considering he pulled.
He was convinced it was, wasn't he? Buick. He was very bullish. I saw the interview after. He was very bullish. He was adamant it was a Guineas horse.
Labarossa was a good horse. I think got first run on him, didn't he?
Exactly. I thought Labarossa should have won that race personally. And Master of the Seas, was impressive to beat Labarossa, but then
you think Chindit can take them out?
I think this is going to be a better race than the Craven, and hopefully if Chindit wins this, then he should be shorter. The Master of the Seas, for example, in the anti-post market, Master of the Seas is currently 10-1. Chindit, best price 16 for the Guineas at the moment. So if you fancy him here,
Champagne winner at 16s. Forget that last one in the Dewhurst. Yeah, I can see it. I suppose
everything went wrong for Master of the Seas in Newmarket the other day as well.
Yeah,
he was stuck on the rail. He had to get out. It went wrong, but he done a lot of things right for me.
It's going to sound weird, but they are becoming a bit more of a trustworthy operation again. At Godolphin, they tend to get these once race winners that could just go completely missing. But if you think about Massard, it's absolutely. If you think about Massard, Charlie Appleby has just been the find of the century for Sheikh Mohammed. I think he's absolutely mustard at what he does. No Godolphin runner here, is there? No, isn't a Godolphin runner,
No.
is there? So one ruler goes straight there. But so listen, TC thinks that Chindit's going to win the Guineas, as does Darren Hughes as well. He's by Wootton Bassett. We'll talk about sires again then. This is a sire that Coolmore have really put a lot of eggs in his basket, basically.
Yeah, was it 125,000 they paid, or the stud fee, or something to do with Wootton Bassett's 125? It's 100,000 euros for his stud fee this year.
They need to find. There's a bit of a gap coming up, isn't there? In these milers type thing. And Wootton Bassett is, if you remember Richard Fahey, of course, a lovely 2-year-old, wasn't he? Basically, he didn't quite go on, did he, Wootton Bassett, from memory? But they are thinking that his progeny are going to be top notchers, basically. So Chindit is one of them. So I'm against fundamental. I think Nando Prado's getting to a silly price now. This isn't one of those where the drift would worry him a bit. I'm surprised that Alchemate, I know that Jim Crowley hasn't gone for him, but I am surprised that he is as big as he is. Marcus Dragoning's horses are running okay, and he's a course winner. Of course, was it the Mill Reef he won here?
Yeah, he beat 5,000 to 1 in the Mill Reef. 5,000 to 1's a really highly rated horse for King Power Racing.
Yes.
That was a really
Rhythm Master was third.
Yeah, so he holds Rhythm Master on that form.
I'm surprised he's not shorter than Fundamental. I really am.
You think Jim's chosen wrong, Dave?
It does happen. Black Hat Hamdan is like one of these, simple theories that people like. Purple hats they like to back, don't they? He just has such a strong string.
It's interesting because Dane O'Neill rode Mujba 3 times last year. Now he's on Alchemate, and Jim Crowley was riding Alchemate all of last year. So they've switched, which is very interesting.
He didn't tell you about this one, though.
I'll say with Jim, he doesn't leave any stone unturned.
Very uncomplicated man and a jockey.
Yeah, and he's very methodical and looking at the form and going to sit on these horses at home. He'd be up, like last week, he'd be up in Newmarket and he'd be thinking, oh, that's going well. He'd have chosen this for a reason.
For Shadwell, isn't
Yeah.
he? We've got to call that now after the sad passing of Hamdan Al Maktoum earlier this year. But he's the perfect sort of fit for the
How long has he been
operation,
in the
isn't
job
he?
now? That's
Quite a while.
10 years?
Yeah, something like that, I'd say.
Shout that is actually. How long has Jim Crowley been in? Someone out there will be able to tell us.
After he was champion jockey, so I think I was still in last year in university.
Is this one of these? Is this one of these hot weld things, Darren? Do you actually know already? Well, I think it was back in.
hold on, Tom's off.
I think I'm pretty sure it was my last year in university. I think it was 2016. I'm pretty sure.
T says, "Don't come to me on Friday." When did Jim Crowley become the late Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum's number one? Well, he does have the choice, and his agent, Tony Iron, will know exactly who's more forward, or who's thought that they might prevail. So Mujbar for Jim Crowley is the pick with Dane O'Neill, and if you're on Alchemate, he did look a really good horse. It's just whether he might just still be more of a Commonwealth Cup type. I see Huddlestone Mac is quite short in the betting. Would that be a Ryan Moore thing for Hughie Morrison? Backward horse last year, but I reckon he's going to step forward. The Lear Jet holding his price well. I can't believe the weakness about Nando Parado.
Have we got the full trade match then?
That was the question.
Give me 2 seconds and I will tell you. Yes, fully matched.
Great stuff. Happy days.
Okay.
2 seconds, just Googling Jim Crowley.
Or a couple of limericks for the end of the show. That's absolutely brilliant. Oh, we have to social clip that one up. Absolutely brilliant. Basically, all of Anne Hamilton's horses. Can you do it again?
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
It was Paddy Picker Piper. Oh, we have fun on this show, don't we? And it's great Sunday service. And they're off then for the 2:45. Again, they're overtime at Newbury, aren't they? But they are off in running in the next classic trial. We bring to you Memento goes forward for, surprise, Holly Doyle and Archie Watson. No worries about stamina, says Adam Kirby under Nando Parado, who looks like he's got sizzling hot himself down the wide. It's probably a fairly warm day. The Learjet, again, was he going to stay? Well, at the moment, Oshie Murphy thinks he definitely will. Alchemate, he's right out the back because the first colours, that's Mujbar, isn't it? He's really keen, Mujbar. Chindit TC, you've got to be happy in fifth.
Yeah, he's in the box seat. Perfect place. I just hope Xario's okay. He's just been pulled up at the back by Jamie Spencer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One's been pulled up out the back. We'll bring you news of that shortly. Also out the back at the minute are a couple of the rags. Insomnia, highly regarded though. The recent all-weather winner. Rhythm Master doesn't look like he's enjoying himself too much. Fundamental in the middle of the pack at the moment. He was forcing it on the all-weather, but they're going to ride him for a turn of luck. Now, Nando Parado, that drift looks like paying off, does it? Because he's come under pressure. I'll tell you what, Memeto's gone clear here.
Yeah.
Is anything going to pick him up? Here comes Chindit TC.
Come on, Dobbsy. Learjet's got to go backwards from there. Come on, Chindit.
I'll tell you what, this isn't coming back, is it? I'm not sure it is.
Come on,
Fundamentals
Chindit.
beating Alchemate's doing his best. Here he comes.
One
He's
and
tough.
Dobby.
He's got it. We got this here. The Learjet.
Come on, Chindit.
Memento still
Come
out
on,
in front.
Chindit.
What a run this is.
Yeah.
Chindit, is he
Yeah, it's
coming
going to get
Oh,
there.
there's your Guineas winner.
Oh.
There's your Guineas winner. Tom Collins wipes the sweat off his brow, prepares another limerick. And he's got the winner in the bag. Fair play, Darren. You knew as well. He must have gone big in the run, though, right?
I think so, yeah, he did. I think he's won a little bit closer than the winning distance, Jess. Just when he got stuck into it, he hit a high 8.0, so about 7-1 in the run. Like, you might think he might have hit higher because he did look under a bit of trouble. Who was it that went clear there?
Memento, I think.
Memento, wasn't
sorry.
it? Yeah. That's one an
Yeah,
absolute
hit it low.
belter.
1.54 in the run, so about 4 to 7. The Learjet's run a huge race.
Yes.
For one that I didn't think that would run well, hit a low of 2.24, so about 5.4 in the run. That was good. Now I'd say the winner's probably valued for a little bit better than the winning distance, but he will need to improve a fair bit on that now to go and win a Guineas. Is all I would say.
Did Nando Parando get
unchanged
fourth?
14,
That's the
so
question.
unchanged 14
Yeah.
Guineas.
Oh, Darren, you took him on in the 4-place market, didn't you, Nando?
He got fourth, yeah.
Chris
he got
Timms,
fourth,
you
yeah.
knew, didn't you? You fancied it. Our viewer out there. Whew, just got fourth there. I'll tell you what, I think the one thing you were right about, though, Darren, he probably didn't enjoy himself on that drying ground, I think. The fact he's held on for fourth means that there's still quite a classy operator in there. One thing it has proved him a 3-year-old, of course, unlike some of the stragglers out the back. Fundamental, again, I just can't work that one out exactly why he was a short in the betting. I guess it's a Tutorian Gosden thing, but coming off the all-weather, I was pretty sure he was going to get something. He never hardly went, did he, at all? Alchemate's won a nice race. I saw a stick go flying
Yeah,
there.
that was
Was
a stick,
Frank?
After Tories, was it? Yeah.
Frankie's thrown his stick up in the air.
He's that good. He
Disgusting.
isn't that good. He
10
don't
quid for
need
someone
it.
who picks
Yeah,
it
he's
up.
that good. He doesn't often need it, does he? The three have come clear. So look, when you rate these form races, if the principals pull clear from the rest of the pack, you usually rate it quite highly. It'll be interesting to see what Racing Post rating we give Chindit. Memento run the race of his life. Think he'll be tempted to go to the Guineas, Hambledon Racing Club with him.
Very interesting run.
Why not? Yeah.
He's been performing at Southwell, hasn't he? An incredible performance to come out here and run Chindit close. The Learjet also, I got that one completely wrong. I thought he was going to bottom out. But he's run a really nice race. Maybe it was the fresh factor.
I'll tell you what, if you're on Chindit, which I know you and Darren are for the Guineas, we'll get the price now for the Guineas coming up. I know, Darren, that you think that maybe he's going to need to step up on that, but that screamed a mile to me.
Oh, he wants
All
to
day long.
wants the trip. And
All day long.
Look, I love his determination. Ears flat back. He really wants to win, neck out. And he was picking up well, hit the line strongly as well.
I'll tell you what, it makes you think of
He
St
didn't
James's
get
Palace Stakes
fully
and everything,
after
doesn't it?
him until late on. Like, he didn't really get properly stuck into him until about a furlong or a furlong and a half out. And like he responded to every urge that he was given. So I was taking. He does need to improve probably to go to 10 or 12 pounds to go close in the Guineas from that. But
Is
I'd
he
say he's having
unchanged,
a good
Darren?
kick.
Is he
Unchanged
un-
14s, yeah, unchanged 14s in the Guineas, yeah. So
He's one of those
See what we
horses
got.
as a jockey, I think. Sorry, Darren. He's one of those horses that Dobbsy, he's niggling away, but he knew he was always going to get there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
he
I thought the
thinks
exact same.
he looked like he's tapped for a little bit of toe. He's like, hold on a minute, my stamina's going to pick up and kick in there, and it's done that. And he's won that cosily.
Yeah, I think he has well.
Yeah.
Definitely value for more than the winning margin.
Definitely,
The
yeah.
only negative that I will say, and obviously I am on him, is that he does hang slightly left under pressure. And he did that at Newmarket as well in the Dewhurst last year.
Well, that will be the big question for him, I think, on the first Saturday in May now. How will he handle the track?
Yeah.
All being well, it will be a sound surface, level playing field for all, and we'll find out. But was it just the ground? I know Paul Keeley seemed to think that Chindit that day didn't like Newmarket. So that's the big question, really. But he's still 14-1. And you know that Darren and TC, they liked him today. Rob Lee, the senior producer in the gallery, I just got a massive get in on my chat come up. So I don't expect any decent vision mixing for the rest of the day now. He's probably got his feet up, hasn't he? But we know lots of you out there love Chindit. He's just going to be one of these horses, isn't he, that gets a following because, like you say, he's a battler.
Yeah, he loves it. He really wants to win, and that's what you want as a punter. You want to be backing horses that want to win. He's a very good horse. He's a Group 1 level horse. It's just whether he's going to do it in the Classic now.
All right, so we did have a delay at Newbury. Thanks for that, TC. But we've got to go up for the. This is a really, really interesting matchup, isn't it? It's the 3 o'clock, of course, at Ayr. All Mankind, the freak that is All Mankind, front-running freak. I think we can say that he's up in trip after a tough race. I think 4th in the Arkle, wasn't he? Behind Shishkin, Tamarak, Damathin, the Pendle winner. He comes here. He's my idea of the winner, guys. I've got to say that. But let's go to Darren Hughes. It looks like a matchup, Darren.
It does, yeah. All Mankind 2.22, so about the 6 to 5 mark from a high of 2.4, a low 1.93. But there's no great deviance in this price there. Tamarack, the Mathan, then Sean Bowen and Paul Nichols 2.48, about 6 to 4. Melistic then for Brian Hughes and Peter Niven 9.6, and then Who Shot the Sheriff, Philip Kirby, outsider the 4 at 22, so about 21 to 1. And the one I'm going to side with here, I'm going to take a bit of a flyer on Melistic. He was touted by our own Tony Calvin on Racing Only Better, the Betfair podcast on Friday. And I actually, after listening to it, I went in and had a look, and I actually agreed with his assessment of it. I'm not sure All Mankind wants 2.5 miles at all. And I've been taking an angle in the last few weeks of opposing horses who went to Cheltenham and have pretty tough races. I think it's worthwhile doing that. And I think this just might be one race too many for him. Tamarack and Mathan would have obvious pounds, but they're both given £5 to Melistic, who slightly unexposed over fence. He's only had the 3 starts, He probably does have a little bit to point at them, but at the prices and in receipt of weight, he's had a quieter year. He's coming in here fresh, having been off since January. Brian Hughes takes the ride. I'm happy to take a flyer on him. So we're going to have 50 quid win on Melistic at about 9.4 there, Tom, please.
Sure. And
What I do think might happen is All Mankind, I will say, in fairness to him, has become a lot more tractable this season. He's not the tearaway that he once was. He does like to go forward, but he is when he's reined in a bit, he responds much better than he did previously. Given that this is 2.5 miles, I think Melistic might get his own way out in front. That could be another wrong read for me today, but that's kind of how I saw it happening. Harry will want to hold on to All Mankind a little bit over this extra half mile of a trip, so interesting to see how it breaks down. But I just thought Melistic at that sort of price, either way from 2, I thought he was worth taking a chance on.
Of course, he lost ran in a jumper's bumper, of course, when all the abandonments were on in January. Before that was on a real roll. Just whether he wants a little bit of softer ground, I'm not sure. All Mankind, Batch?
I think he's an absolute shoe-in for me.
Wow.
Tamarack to Mathan beat, in my opinion, Cool Cody, handicapper, Go Law, which All Mankind's already beat this season. The trip doesn't worry me round there. He's won over Sandown on good to soft 2 mile, 2.5 mile round Ayr. I think it's an absolute good thing, I really do. He's
got £10 in hand, according to the handicappers TC on Tamarack to Mathan. I just know that Tamarack has been aimed at this. This is his big FA Cup final, if you like, Tamarack. He's only been beaten over fences by Shishkin, albeit well beaten, but this is a fascinating match. I mean, we know he stays, but I'll tell you what, to hear you talking so confidently, Batch, is definitely...
I think All Mankind has to really underperform to get beat.
But that's kind of what I'm kind
that's
of
what you're
expecting.
hoping, yeah.
I think so, but you're right. If you win around Cheltenham, it's just he had a fairly hard race, as Darren said as well. He went hammer and tongs, didn't he? As expected, of course, in the Arkle. TC, where are you playing?
this wouldn't be a race I'd be betting in, I'd have to say. This would be a race I just want to watch. However, I do think All Mankind is the most likely winner. He's the best horse in the race to me. And round Ayr, a track that suits front runners. He's got so much natural speed. He tends to jump extremely well as well when Harry gets him into a rhythm, which is 9 times out of 10. I don't think the trip will be too much of an issue. I don't think he's a proper stayer at 2.5 miles, don't get me wrong. But I think he might just go far enough clear of the likes of Tamarack to Mathan.
It's a classy edition of this race, isn't it? If you go down the previous winners, Paul Nichols won it when it was last run in 2019 with this year's Denman Chase winner, Secret Investor. But again, apart from that, you're looking at Top Gamble, lovely horses. You know, Rajani Express, Pasha de Polder have won this. Edouard won this a couple of years ago. But this is, we're talking about like next year's up-and-coming champion chase class, aren't we? This is a real belter.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if All Mankind's actually a proper champion chase horse. Though the thing is, like, I keep opposing All Mankind this year. I think I've opposed him every single start, actually, from his first ever start, which has not obviously paid its way because he's won 7 races. But
loads of people did, TC. They thought this is a juvenile that's not gone on.
Yeah.
It was a freak, of course. You remember he was trained on the flat. Was it George Scott that had him? I can't remember. It was for the Gridleys. Yeah, it was. And they just couldn't get him to settle. They ran him in Chester trials and things like that. He always knew he was classy. And the Skelsons, Posey said to us, didn't he, when he was talking initially about this horse going fences, they didn't know what they were getting. They just let him go and they were like, whoa.
And that first day he ran over hurdles, back in November 2019 for the Skeltons, he was like 4 to 9 in the morning, went off at 5 to 2. No one thought he was going to win, and still won.
I just think he's one of those horses that is not quite grade 1.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Warrior.
He just has so much speed that he manages to contest those races.
A lot of people will be disagreeing with that out there. And I know, if he goes and hoses up here over 2 mile 4, will they be thinking about a step up in trip? As he gets a little bit more mature, he's dropping the head, and as expected, he adopts a front running role. Good luck wherever you're playing the 3 o'clock at Ayr then. He goes on from Tamarack to Mathan. The classy animal this is in second. Who Shot the Sheriff out the back with Malistic as well. Let's see how they get over the first fence then. They're going a leisurely gallop, I think we can say that. Well, I tell you what, Malistic absolutely flew that. Tamarack of the four, if you were being picky, Batch was probably a little bit close, but all nice and gentle so far.
Yeah, just into the bottom of it, but that's because they're probably going steady and that was the easier stride to take. If they carry on this steady, it's going to play into all man's kind because he'd have a turn of foot at the end, yeah.
Yeah, when he won at Sandown in his Grade 1, when he did that, the Henry VIII, wasn't it, he won, he didn't have to go as hard as sometimes Harry does. Of course, when he won the Kingmaker at Warwick, that's what he does best. He gets on a sharp track, again, a little bit like this, I suppose, and just wings. But they can ride him back that little bit quieter now, as is being played out here.
Yeah, he settled really nicely today. Lot more easier than he was in the Harcourt at Cheltenham. He did run a bit free that day.
Malistic's going well, Darren, isn't he? He's taking a nice keen hold out the back. Who Shot the Sheriff as well? All going well within themselves. But has the market latched onto one?
Yeah, All Mankind 1.94, 1.9 from BSP at 11.10 or so. Malistic kind of for money 8.6. We got 9.6 about him. Tamarack, Mathan, Small Drifter 94, 74.
He's got a little slap down the shoulder,
Tamarack. Price. Yeah, he's a bit of a weak finisher, Tamarack as well. I didn't say that before the race, but he wouldn't be one to be overly confident in. So we'll see how we get on here. Long way to go, but Batch is dead right. If they continue with this leisurely pace, it's All Mankind's race to lose. He's the fastest horse in the race, so we'll see.
It'll be interesting to see what Sean Bowen aboard Tamarack does, because when does he try and expose the stamina potential chinks of All Mankind? I think they're ramping it up slightly now, TC, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit. I think Harry just wants to get into a proper rhythm up front. Malistic there just hit the top bar, but Brian Hughes quickly gathers him underneath him again. I mean, Harry Skelton's just got him in a great rhythm. At Cheltenham, we saw Harry Skelton go for home or go a bit too hard on a few occasions, and he's done it a couple of times since at different tracks as well, but he's really playing this pretty smart on All Mankind, I think.
And Brian Hughes, of course, is 6 behind. They haven't had a winner yet, the pair yet, but Batch have they? But no. Again, he's sensing that he's on a horse that's still got more to come, because he's riding him nice and positively, Malistic.
Yeah, he's travelling well, jumping well. He's just holding him back there, just getting him back on the bridle, behind the bridle a little bit, just a little bit free. But yeah, he'd be happy if he was Brian at the minute.
So we're just over the halfway stage then. I'll tell you what, Sean Bowen, every time he goes up to Harry goes on a little bit more. Yeah. What he doesn't want, TC, is for something to soften him up, basically.
No, Harry's just kicked on a little bit there, gathered 2, maybe 3 length advantage. Tamarack to Mathan just a little bit flat-footed for a few strides.
Yes, he was.
As we see if you're watching on Racing TV, the speed in the left-hand corner, it said 28 miles per hour. When Harry kicked on, went straight up to 32 miles an hour, and that shows the little difference there in tactics between Harry Skelton earlier in the race and then after the first circuit.
It's the standard 32, as we were saying on the
Malistic, he looks like he travels well, but don't find an awful lot.
Yeah, he's very.
So if they do quicken, he's gonna go from travelling well like this to off the bridle very quickly.
Harry Skelton asked All Mankind for a big one on the far side, and didn't he produce there? Tamarack, Who Shot the Sheriff, coming up, eyeballing him for second at the minute, and that relegates Malistic out the back. Okay, let's see. What are the fences like? Oh, blimey! Just as I said that for All Mankind, who was asked for a big one, he absolutely took up at the previous fence. What are the fences like at Ayr then?
Don't know, never been, Dave.
I was in Jersey, winning the Guineas. Okay.
I think by that,
by
that mistake, they look pretty soft to me.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we had the Mileway fences last week, which are well known for being, you have to get into a rhythm over the Mileway fences, otherwise they will make you pay. But some jockeys don't like riding at Leicester, do they? Because they think it's tricky to jump. Exeter, which you'd think would be a bit stiffer, they're nice and inviting, aren't they?
Nice, very friendly for novices. Most of them are on an uphill climb, which is perfect for a horse to get him jumping.
All right, so on this show next year, can we make sure we get in an Ayr specialist in Batchelor's seat? Okay, Who Shot the Sheriff then as they approach the turn in?
Malistic,
he started to fit it. Tamarack to
Mathan.
He started to fit it. Now, I'll tell you what, Malistic is absolutely the last one off the bridle. He has a little look there, Brian Hughes, but Harry Skelton has kicked.
Let's go and get him still.
This is where we find out all about the stamina reserves of All Mankind, the freak that is All Mankind. He's got him on a stretch. I'm not sure if this is going to pick up in second, Jockey's title, here we go. Harry Skelton, 2 out. Absolutely wings it. Malistic, what's he got left? Nothing off the bridle.
What we said.
At all.
Yeah.
Well done, Batch. If he pops these over, you were absolutely right. This was, according to official ratings, the horse to be with. One more to pop, TC. All good?
Ooh.
Go in and pop.
Not by that noise.
They are soft.
They are soft.
They're soft up there.
This is a little bit of a carbon copy of when he won won the Kingmaker, wasn't it? And a few people were as itchy and scratchy about his jumping that day over.
Oh,
the last
lovely.
That was a lot better, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the speed he goes, he's always going to get in close to a couple, isn't he? His idea looks extremely impressive. But what an engine All Mankind has. And I tell you what, if you were with him, if you stuck with Batch, I never heard you so confident pre-race. And well done, you got it in the bag.
Yeah, I just think he looked like the standout performer for me. And as soon as they jumped off and going that speed, we said halfway round, and Melistic looked like he was going to give him something to do. Harry's kicked him in the belly, and he's gone from that to nothing straight away, and the race was done.
That as well.
The race was done, done and dusted.
I guess, Darren Hughes, let's come to you with the market, because it did look, turning in, didn't it, as though Brian Hughes would really be fancying his chances on Melistic.
Yeah, I was getting a bit jiggy there, all right. He hit a low of 1.85 in the runs, just a small bit bigger than 4 to 5 for about 800 quid. All Mankind, he was kind of kicked in the belly a bit. I'd say the step up and straight was after suiting him. Now, I know they went slow early on, but that helped him. He hit a high of 8.0 in the run, so about 7 to 1 for nearly 400 quid. I don't know who was laying that. Tamarack to Matan hit a low of 4 to 5 in the run as well, 1.83 for only small money. But no, that was good from All Mankind. Now, I thought that Cheltenham would have left its mark on him, and it really didn't. He's performed every bit as well there, if not better. It's obviously another tick Shishkin's box as well. He's 20 to 1 first show for the Ryanair for next year, so the assumption might be they might leave him at this sort of trip as opposed to run them against Shishkin in the Champion Chase next year. But no, that was quite good. You saw it was raced really, really well, and it kind of if I put it this way, if they'd done another half mile there, I think he'd have beat Melistic even further. So I wouldn't be too knocking him on trips going forward.
No, it's interesting. I mean, I want just as as Darren was giving us that quote there of the Ryanair, we see this with certain yards in particular. But Dan Skelton, I think, is probably top of the Premiership trainers, shall we say, in the jumps ranks. Who you have to listen carefully to him after his horses win the trials. Not all of them go to Cheltenham. I think actually this Cheltenham is probably more aggressive with his horses this season than he ever has been. But I wonder whether they skip Cheltenham with this horse next year and just wait for Aintree.
I totally agree, because I think clearly the 2.5 wasn't a problem there, but I think you'd have to choose your 2.5 carefully.
You'd go to the Melling, wouldn't you?
I think
no
2.5 round Cheltenham might just be, I don't think it'd be a step too far. 2.5 round Aintree.
Lads, Allaho would beat him up and spit him out. To be quite honest,
it's taken us 2 hours and we got the first Allaho mention from the Irish pundit.
Someone cut him off.
And it was nice hearing from Darren Hughes this afternoon.
We've got a problem. We've lost Darren Hughes.
I'll tell you what, we've got the next Denman, haven't we, basically? Also, he turned up one day this year and he's...
Hello, Barry. When you're back, Baz? Yeah, when you're back.
Barry, all watching on going, I've got nothing to worry about here, lads. I'm all good. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, no, you're right.
45 in the morning, lads.
Yeah, you are.
I got an email from Barry there. Yeah, John. Sorry.
Hold on. Just got a text from Barry. What is he wearing? I don't know.
Don't go on about it. The last time he was on, he said, I'll tell him to wear a shirt next time. I'll tell you what, defiance from TC and Darren Hughes. Dressed down Sunday for them. Of course, it's Sunday service here on Racing Post Live. All Mankind, wasn't that sizzling? Listen, if we're going to temper the form, TC, you could say he's beaten a horse that hasn't got home. Yeah. Tamarack didn't fire. Who's shot the Sheriff well beaten?
Yeah, the form isn't strong at all, and obviously he was facing the likes of Shishkin before, so big step down in class. There is one thing about All Mankind that interests me. He seems to get lit up by a mistake. He did it in the Kingmaker. He made a really bad mistake, 3 out I think it was, and then suddenly he found another gear and went again. He made a really bad mistake there, which is when he touched 8 to 1 or 7 to 1 and running. Went again.
Do you know what that is? I think just watching it. He's one of those horses. He settled lovely today, and he's well known for being really highly strung. And he's made a mistake. So, as a jockey, it's a little bit clumsy. So you think, well, I've got to give you a slap here to wake you up, but it wakes him up too much.
Yeah.
So you say, come on, get your act together, and all of a sudden he's like, whoa.
But when he does that, it seems to immediately put the race to bed. So it works in his favour.
Yeah.
Like there are horses where they would do that and then immediately go to nothing, or horses that would empty out straight after the mistake. But it seems to really set his mind on the job, and All Mankind then finds a new gear. It's interesting.
Harry Skelton goes 7 clear, of course, of Brian Hughes, who finished second there. Is it all over? Let us know what you think. That's going to be some narrative, isn't it? Next week, heading in to the big meeting at Sandown, which brings down the curtain on the current jumps season. Really cannot wait for that. But of course, we've got 2 more races coming your way. One from Newbury. We sign off with the Spring Cup. the 320. You can see the odds on screen there. Nugget's going a bit short for me. I backed him this morning, but I wouldn't have him around about the 3-1 mark. Darren Hughes, what is he on the exchange?
He is 5.4, so about 9-2. Matthew Flinders just edges favouritism at 5.2, so 4-1. Daniel then for Jim Crowley and Owen Burrows, 6.2, so about 5-1 mark. Ryak, let me pronounce that right, Dane O'Neill, also the Shadow Estate colours, 9.6. Johan for James Doyle, 14.5, and again it's about 20-1. I'm bigger the rest after that. So my selection is quite similar to yours, Dave, but I'm going to do something a small bit different this time, and I'm going to Dutch up first two in the market, which is Nugget and Matthew Flinders. I couldn't split these two. I thought Nugget had obvious claims, and again, as I said, in great form. Ed Walker also had a nice winner during the week. His yard are in form, and I'm happy enough to leave out Daniel. Just Owen Burrows tends to start the season quite slowly. I know he ran well in the Lincoln behind Hakiki, but I just until that yard start having winners, I'm happy enough to leave them well enough alone. But we'll get on to the trade anyway. And if you can hit the back box at 5.5 and 5.3, please, for both Matthew Flinders and Nugget, Tom. And then if you hover over the stake button in blue and click on that, you can type in your total stake. The exchange will do the maths for you. It'll tell you how much you need to put on both to win roughly an equal amount. And you hit place bets and we're good to go then. So effectively what a Dutch is it takes two or more horses in a race, and you set total stake you want to have on, and it splits up the stake for you equally dependent on the horse's price. You stand to win the same amount no matter which of the selections wins that you have. So it can be done with you could do it with 10 horses if you want, and it would just set out the stake equally. It's just, I often would do it if I kind of have a race broken down and I have it down to 2 or 3, really can't split them, and it works out around the 5-2, 3-1 mark for either of them to win, and I'm kind of happy to take that. So we'll see who we get on here. Hopefully things work out for us.
What was the total stake there, Darren? Sorry?
50, Tom. Sorry,
Lovely.
50 quid, please. Thank you.
There you go. Okay, so Dutching, putting them together, the first two fabs. Couldn't split them, says Darren Hughes. Let's see if the panel have a differing view. Matt Batch.
Well, I was looking through this race last night. I was wrecking my head. The doorbell went. The King Prawn Tandoori Danzak arrived. So I thought, I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. I'm going to go with Matthew Flinders because I like his name. The pin come out, the drawing pin come out.
Tell you what, Batch, nuggets, Dansacks. I mean, no wonder you got to play football 2 times.
Yeah, I have to run it off.
Is that all I've needed to do all these years?
Don't forget the onion barges, Dave.
There we go. So Matthew Flinders all the way, but you're in good company, TC, because the 2 top sitters at the post have gone for that as well today.
Yeah, well, Matthew Flinders definitely got a great chance. Asheem Murphy takes the ride. Coming back off the layoff is my slight concern about him. I prefer a horse to have a start coming into this race, which is why I'm with Nugget. But I can certainly see the case for Matthew Flinders, potentially well handicapped off a mark of 97.2.
Yeah, he's a horse that I like. I was with him when he won at Doncaster. I thought, yeah, this is a good one. And he just, I don't know, it didn't all go quite right afterwards, but he showed on the straight course at Doncaster, didn't they? They were toying with having a look at the Lincoln for him, but they've obviously come here, and it will be Hunt Cups, it will be Bunbury Cups, it will be that sort of thing for him this year. I can totally see where he's going for. He just, again, looks a bit too short for me. I've got Nugget on top. He's a horse that I really like. When he won at Windsor last year, I was cheering him on, and I just thought the prep 11 days ago was all to get him ready for this. We know Richard Annan's having a good day. He's had a double on the card already. Chindit, Snow Lantern, of course, or I keep wanting to call the damn Sky Lantern. I just think that 130, again, it's skinny enough, but Ryan Moore, again, he's drawn in 2 and drawn in 1, isn't he, at a second fav as well? Yeah. So far side that he'll be hoping for, basically.
Beauty of the exchange there, David. You're saying 3-1 skinny enough. He's every bit of 92 in the exchange, so not so skinny there. That's why we all have our bets on the exchange.
This is one of those cases that we see, Darren, isn't it, where the books are basically playing Ryan Moore and Oisin Murphy, and the real market.
So you're trying to dodge the each way side of it as well, because he's 9-2 there. That'd be pretty tight if you were betting to 4 places, which there probably is 4 places on offer. So they're kind of ducking it for the place part of the bet, whereas obviously in the win-only market on the exchange, you're getting the full value 92. About both of them are there about 5.4.
So TC, who wins? Sorry.
No, I'm with Nugget. One with you. I thought
of course.
That run at Nottingham when was it, 11 days ago, was really eye-catching. I thought he should have won that race. He was short for room at a crucial stage.
He was.
Ross O'Ryan, who I thought had arguably the best winter for any jockey on the flat. I thought it was phenomenal in the weather, especially for David Loughnane.
I heard you once on Sky. I was watching it was on in the background, and Ross O'Ryan won a race, and I was like, does he want to go to his wedding or something?
No, I
absolutely waxing lyrical about Ross O'Ryan. I was like,
I tell you what it is.
Ross O'Ryan.
No, I tell you what it is.
Unbelievable.
Right? Jockeys get a lot of stick, and obviously I would give stick as well to a jockey if I don't think they give him a good ride. But when jockeys ride really well, I think they deserve commending. They deserve being talking up because, look, you can't just have it one way and then not give them the positivity as well. And Ross O'Ryan was just riding race after race that was spectacular. So I thought, why not?
He's a wordsmith today, isn't he?
Hey, look.
Limericks. Adjectives
Ross
all
O'Ryan,
over
that's
the
why he likes
place.
Ross O'Ryan.
We're giving TC a bit of stick, but Ross, if you do want a shadow writer when it comes to biography time, look no further than the man in the corner.
I'm up for that. Don't worry about that.
Absolutely, a little bung. You're in good company with Batch there. All right, so look, we are expecting Nugget to go close. Don't matter about the price, this is just a winner. There are loads of horses in here with interesting angles. The Gill brothers has been well backed today. Our analysts put him up as their eye catcher in the paper today. I think Hugh Taylor's gone for him as well on other websites.
Yeah, he stuck him up this morning.
He was a humongous eye catcher at Wolverhampton on this show when we covered it. But I just wonder whether he's more of a synthetic horse to the turf. We will find out here, but he was very eye-catching, and Stuart Williams' horses are back on fire.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. He looks an all-weather horse to me. He was eye-catching flying late. Maybe he'll fly late again for some place money today. I just can't see him beating these improving 4-year-olds at the head of the market, though.
I'll tell you who else was an eye-catcher last time. Revich for Richard Spencer in the Lincoln.
Yeah, what price was he? Was it like 100 to 1? I remember because my dad sent me a text. He had a few quid each way at 150 to 1.
Oh, Revich,
yeah, and
sixth. I hope he got the places, did he?
he did, because I backed the second in the Lincoln. Who was the second? Brunch.
I remember, yeah.
My dad was talking about Hakiki, and I was messaging saying, Brunch, I thought he was going to win. He was like, I was watching Revich back finishing sixth in the places. So, look, he was an eye-catcher in the Lincoln, and he's a big price again today. He could run a good race for Angus Villiers, who's another young up-and-coming jockey.
I liked him. I've seen him.
Let's get some viewer interaction, guys. Angus Villiers, then another one that TC's a fan of. There's the spotlights. They're doing one again today, aren't they? Neil Dawkins joins the show. Thank you, Neil, for coming on and saying Jim Palace and history writer unlucky in the Lincoln, both each way for me. History writer David Manuzier's horses have, I think we could say, been needing the run. He's been pretty quiet start for David so far, and with the run on his back, this is a horse that he's got some top handicap form, hasn't he? And Jim Palace had a good season last year, TC, didn't it? Rose right up in the rankings.
Yeah, Eve Johnson-Houghton's one of her leading lights, Jim Palace. He kind of ended the season on a sour note, but George Adobe is an interesting booking. Eve Johnson-Houghton, though, last 14 days, 0 for 20.
Since the Brocklesby winner there, didn't
Yeah, yeah.
Easy Brocklesby winner as well.
What do you think of Georgie Adobe? She rides well, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think she's all right, yeah. No, she's no Ross O'Ryan, but she's pretty good. She's pretty good.
OK, listen, we're talking about the Spring Cup. How long? We've got a couple of minutes to go. So since we've been talking, Darren, it's Matthew Flinders, Nugget, Matthew Flinders. Who's going to go off outright fav?
I have to call at this stage, David. Not David. Matthew Flinders has just edged favouritism, 4.8, so between 7-2 and 4-1. At the moment, Nugget 5.7, so he's drifted a tiny little bit. Matthew Flinders is quite strong in the market. Danya is a drifter, 7.4 from 6.0. Ryak 8.4 from around the same price as I said. It's pretty standard after that, but the market has quite strongly come from Matthew Flinders now, as I said, 4.8 and shortening all the time.
Call me David there, didn't I?
I did call you David.
Yeah.
Oh, Alan Byrne was in the studio for a minute. I was like, hey, it's all good, Darren. It's all good. Absolutely. Yeah, David, my grandmother was about the last person that ever called me that. OK, Ayr are not waiting for Newbury. I'm just hearing this as well. Rob Lee's getting involved. I have to move straight on to the Nash, the Scottish Nash, straight after this race. So, indeed, we've got so many runs to talk about in there. There is a delay at Newbury. Not exactly sure why there's a delay. Maybe something happened. I don't know, but they are behind the times. This is something that gets Bruce Millington, who sits on this desk a lot. It gets him absolutely wound up, and he's
frustrating, isn't it?
Why are they so behind? Ascot used to be
It's always
serial
the same
offenders.
tracks, though. It's always the same. Yeah, Ascot are one. It's always the same tracks. Some of them are ground, get them off bang on time, but Ascot is notorious for Newbury aren't great either. I don't know what it is, and I find sometimes it's tracks with really long straight because they seem to go out at the same time, but you have to go the whole way down the straight as opposed to going around the round track. That could be absolutely stupid. That's what I thought. you have to go the whole way down as opposed to go around. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he's thought about this, hasn't he? He's got the course maps out and everything. He's like Enzo. Okay, great stuff. Yeah, you're right, Darren. Absolutely. It is a frustration, isn't it? Especially if things get busier, as we get more light, we get more racing. So
they were 5 minutes behind on I think it was the Fred Darling. I think that's where they lost 5 minutes. But you can catch up 5 minutes.
You can make it up 100%, especially 35-minute gaps in between races. It's not just half an hour, it's full 35 minutes. But you should definitely be able to.
No crowds winding these horses up and all that sort of thing. No 2-year-old races. So, yeah. A little bit disappointing, I suppose. But one horse we haven't spoken about here in the Spring Cup while we wait for them to go in, hopefully sooner rather than later, is Raik, who Darren did mention. Black Hats, of course, we mentioned was the late Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum. Raik, was it soft ground last time, TC, I think, that blunted him a little bit? Yeah,
we won on soft ground the time before. He was just heavily back last time, wasn't he, in the Balmoral. They clearly think a lot of him.
They do, yeah. I spoke to Brian Meehan about him, and he is a group horse, basically.
Yeah, so. He achieved an RPR, a race price rating of 113 when he won on his penultimate start. He's rated 107, so on that basis, he's potentially £6 ahead of the handicapper. So you can't write him off for sure. It's just, he's lost first time up both seasons so far. Brian Meehan. He's
got to give weight as well to the horses that look like they've got more to come.
Exactly.
Nugget he's given over a stone to, and he's given £13, isn't he, to Matthew Flinders, the Fav as well. So Johan is in here. He was going to prep for Team Haggis and James Doyle on board in the Lincoln. They withdrew him late on in that. He's a horse that might have a bit more to say, but 105, stiff old mark, isn't it, I suppose. HMS President for Eve Johnson-Houghton, we should mention him, very consistent horse. He did get called a bit of a thinker at times, didn't he, last season? Holly Doyle on, though. She'll make his mind up for sure. Oh, This Is Us, who returned to form at Newmarket. A great run, that. The 8-year-old, the lovable 8-year-old out there for Sean Levy as well. Wide open race, basically. A reminder of the tips. I think it's a two-way split, pretty much. Matthew Flinders. The well-named.
Matthew Flinders.
While you were eating your curry. And myself and TC, who actually looked at the form, we've decided to go for Nugget. And Darren Hughes couldn't decide, so he's Dutched them. Happy days. So we're around what? We've got just over 10 minutes away to the Scottish National. Shall we have a quick talk about the Scottish National then, just quickly? We won't be able to get the graphics up on screen for that with the market and that, but most people will know what they're going to play in that by now. Who are we playing? It's the Ferry Master for me, for Sandy Thompson.
I like 3. I'd love to right to win.
Except quickly.
No, I'm not going to be quick, Dave. I'm going to go through this. Because
you like the names?
Because I like the names.
Have you looked at this one, you have?
Yeah, I've looked at this one, yes. Jumping. Interests me, this one does. That's how this one interests me.
Don't call him...
What are you writing?
Not a chance. Won the Classic Chase. Bit disappointing at Haydock. And I lose like Sam's Adventure, the Ida winner. That could run well for Henry Brook. Big price, 22 to 1.
Beat I right in that, of course, didn't he?
Yes.
Did he? Hang on a minute, was it?
No.
And Mike has gone. Is it mine or?
Who's Dave's? Who's gone?
In he comes again.
In he comes.
In comes Rob Lee again.
Here's some more.
Dave's Mike.
Yeah, there's some more cheap batteries for you, Dave.
Yours gets fitted.
Yeah. Well, you've been here long enough. You can do that. So let's go over to Tom for as Dave's doing his.
Oh, here we go.
Desk, so.
Bit of hosting, you love it.
You got to take over.
Take the reins. Yeah, in the Scottish Nash, I think Coupe de Panso's got a great chance at a big price, 33 to 1 earlier in the week. He represents unfrustrable connections, let's say, Nick Mitchell, Angus Chalida claiming 7, but he really impressed me at Taunton, over 3 mile 4. Yes, he's stepping up in trip, but the visor seems to work it seems to work the treat with him. And against the likes of I Right, who's a lot shorter in the market, yes, he's the class horse in the race. I just think it's worth the posing with one at a bigger price.
Dave's still fiddling around the batteries, or are we back on, Dave?
Tell you what, I'm back on. I
I
like
was
it how the
enjoying
senior
that.
producer comes in for you. It fits your mic, he just throws a couple of batteries at me. Listen, I've got to have a break at some point this year, and TC's just shown he can fill the seat.
Do you know what? That's going to go again in a minute, because them 2 he threw you, there's the 2 he took out of mine.
There's a ploy here at work, I think. Dave, have a break. Oh, I'm delighted to say, finally, they are in at Newbury then. Oh, it's all kicking off in the studio here today. But we are back and off and running we go. And the 2 favourites, they were on the far side, but they're going to have to tack along into the middle because they are once again at Newbury. Surprise, surprise. Holly Doyle leading the way under HMS President. He's got a little bit warm, going right down the centre. He's being followed by Bear Force One, brilliantly named Bear Force One. Surprised he didn't go for that batch. And Jim Palace now taking a keen hold as well. I know a few of you like that out there. And History Writer, the other selection for our social viewer out there. In contrast, right out the back as well, as is Matthew Flinders, the Fav, and also Nugget as well too. I like the way Nugget travels TC.
Yeah, he's travelling lovely. He's managed to get some cover as well, despite being right on the wing. He's in. I think Danya's pulling a bit hard. Ryak not towards the front, which surprised me. But Eve Johnson-Houghton's pair lead the way. They're going just steady fractions, and something will quicken soon and really get a few of these off the bridle.
Yeah, they have slowed it up definitely because National League is also again he's usually midfield, but he's right up there in about 4th or 5th at the minute. Revic is buried up in midfield. I can see another one that's just coming off the bridle. Newbolt, as this is a bit stop-starty, isn't it? You don't want to be out the back then, we think. The Gill brothers, he was a big tip toss, wasn't he? He's right out the back. Here comes the Nugget.
Come on, Ryan.
Travelling well.
Yeah.
Here comes come on the Nugget. Pour on the sauce. Here we go. Danya's the one to beat then at the minute. Jim Palace is still there. Matthew Flinders is tagging onto his back, but he's given first run to Nugget. Go on, Ryan. Keep on pushing this up. Johan's having to say, Revic is coming into it a little bit. Danny's coming back at him. What does he find? Ryan gets the whip out and he says, high off and I'm a goer. We knew. Another Fav goes in then. And was it just about Fav, wasn't it, Nugget? Danya. Big race he ran considering he pulled, and Matthew Flinders in third as well. If you were watching that preview we gave, I was thinking to myself at one point, do these guys do any work? Well, we know Batch doesn't. Do these guys do any work? This was one where we pretty much concentrated on the market leaders. I'm delighted to say we got it right, Darren Hughes.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, pretty standard. I was slightly worried there I was going to have egg on my face, having quite ruled out Daniel early on, but no, that was good. Matthew Flinders travelled well into it, probably just gave the first run to Nugget and couldn't make up the ground. Nugget did hit a high of 8.8 in the run for a small few quid. I have it here, just for 11 quid, a couple of hundred quid done in around the 7-1 mark on the exchange. Matthew Flinders did hit a low of 3.6, so about 5-2 in the run. Looked like he was coming, but just couldn't pick them up. And then Danny and Jim Curley, who did look, when Ryan gave Nugget one crack behind the back, as we said earlier on, one of the best of the game, Ryan. Daniel did hit a low of 2.68 in the run for a small few quid, but the winner was good for it. Three of them pulled not clear, but a small way clear. I'd say that form will end up working out if I had to guess.
I'd be with you on that, Darren Hughes, as well. Yeah, it was a very good ride, wasn't it? But I guess TC first run. Yeah, Ryan over Oshin. Would you be thinking they might reverse that in the future?
I don't think so. I think it was the best horse. Yes, he did get first run, but as you can see, as we're looking at the replay right now, he was still on the bit when Matthew Flinders was under pressure. He won Shea Cozy at the line, and it's just a really nice horse. This Nugget, another nice horse that
Hunt Cup, Royal Hunt Cup match.
Royal Hunt Cup. Oshin, he knew his danger. He is tracking. He's keeping an eye on Ryan all the time, and when Ryan's made that move, he's tried to go with him, but I don't think he was good. I don't think he was going to reverse the placings on that. No. Best horses won.
With Johan and Ryak, the horses that lump the weight, basically, definitely listed horses they are. I think we can say it's a pretty classy race. I'm with Darren on that one. Yeah, you followed the form, will we? Yeah,
Revic ran really well as well. And in fourth, there's a boost for the Lincoln form. Yeah. Daniel is our second, so the Lincoln's looking to work out pretty well. Hakiki obviously won that really impressively, so keep him in your track.
I have had a ride for Highclere as well. Sent one over to Jersey, got beat on it.
1 to 5 shot.
1 to 5 shot.
No wonder you eat nuggets. The rest of them are on caviar. Fantastic. All right, we've got to go up to Ayr. It's the final race of the day. It's the feature race of the day. It is the Coral Scottish Grand National Grade 3 Handicap. Always an absolute treat. Delighted to have it back. Been a really, really good meeting so far at Ayr, hasn't it? Watching horses go around in the sunshine on the sound surface. Absolutely lovely over the jumps. And who's going to start favourite? Is it going to be Peter Fahey's?
Tight. Mr. Fogpatch is 8.8, just shade under 8-1 for Peter Fahey and Danny Mullins. But Dingo Dollar for the Sandy Thompson yard, they're both joint at 8.8 at the moment. Soldier Love 12.5, so about 11-1. I Ride 10-1. Mighty Thunder 11-1. Not a Chance 14-1. On card 22 on the exchange, so about 21-1. It's and it's kind of bigger prices than the rest. I actually like Matty. I did half fancy 3 in this. I'm only going to battle one of them, but the other two were Engard, who I've put up on this show before. I do think he'll end up running in a Grand National at some stage in his life, but the ground might just be a bit quick for him today. And then the other one, same story, Big River, who's been a plot horse of mine for a long, long time. He's cost me a fortune, but Again, the ground might be just a bit faster for him today, but the one I'm going to side with is I'm going to keep it very simple. Irish horse in a handicap, and we're going to take advantage here. The extra place market on the exchange, but we're going to back him win and play. So if you can go in there first of all, TC, and a 30 quid at 8.8 on Mr. Frog Patches.
Sure, that's matched.
A1, and then we're going to go into the 6th place market, and we're going to have a score on that, and we're going to try and get matched there at about 5.4. Put him up 2.3. We should be able to get matched at that. So 6 places. I mean, standard place terms here before. There probably are extra places with some of the traditional bookmakers, but it's another thing you can do in the exchange. You have the option. You can back them to win the first 4, the first 5, or the first 6. I'm going to take advantage of the 6 places, but it all depends on how you want to play.
Patriotism again from Darren Hughes then. He's been backed into the favouritism. His first time he's had his ground, said Peter Vaughan, basically. Of course, he took out the Coral Cup and then the winner went on and followed up in a Grade 1 at Aintree, didn't it? They're already down at the start. So Fog Patches for Darren. We thankfully said our selections. Ferry Master for myself, Dave Orton. Mattie Batch.
All right, for me, Mr. Fog Patches, this was fourth in a race that Live, Love, Laugh was second in what's the impressive Topham winner.
Ridiculous that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Won that. TC, remind us again, top selection.
Coupe de Panso, a big price.
Oh, yeah, OK. There's been money for that. So what is the thinking behind this horse that used to be with Paul Nicholls, came back to form last time?
Yeah, Nick Mitchell seems to have revitalised him. He's had 3 starts for unfashionable connections now, let's say. He obviously was with Paul Nicholls, and he was running in good ground 3-mile races. He seems to be really sparked to life by a visor. 2 starts back, finished 6th behind a horse called Amateur, who's decent yardstick. Then really won well last time. Quickened up nicely for a horse that was having his first start over 3-mile furlongs. I just think the step up to 4 miles are going to suit him. And with Angus Chaleda's £7 claim, who we've obviously seen to great effect riding for Nicholls, I think he's probably pretty well handicapped in here. And yes, he hasn't got the same profile as the likes of I Right, but around 25, 33 to 1, whatever price he is now, I think he's got a chance of hitting the frame.
OK, all right. So that is the panel's play in the Scottish Grand National. Good luck wherever you are going. This is the final race of the day here on RP Live. We'll be back next Saturday, of course, to bring the curtain down on the jump season at Sandown. Can I give you a quote from Richard Hannon about Chindit? I think you'll like this, TC and Darren, who think that we might have seen the Guineas winner.
Go on.
Richard Hannon says to James Byrne, our course reporter, if you look at the race he's won, he's not been ultra impressive. When he won the Champagne, he was getting up late on. He's done exactly the same here. He's a very willing horse. It's a workmanlike, but just knows how to win, which is exactly what you want. I'd rather it was winning like that than being fancy, says Richard Hannon. He says, it looks as though he wants a mile, which we all agree with. He screamed it, we said, all over, says Batch. Halfway through the winter, when they're sort of watching these horses develop, they thought he might be a sprinter, which I think you'd have to be very hopeful about him, because that means he's a fast miler, basically. He says he's very reliable, has a good chance in the Guineas. I don't think he needs to be frightened of anything. Bullish talk from Richard Hannon.
Yeah, look, there's no standout, is there, in this year's 2000 Guineas market at this stage? I mean, one ruler is the talk, but we haven't seen him this season.
You've not mentioned the winner yet, by the way.
Are you going to say Thunder Moon?
It's Thunder Moon. Everyone knows I'm a big fan. It's Thunder Moon. He's going to... I mean, spoke to Leighton Aspel, who does a lot of work riding there at Joseph O'Brien's. Keen.
What did he say?
He's still got 4 legs.
Very good judge.
Yeah, very good lash.
Very good judge.
Yeah, absolutely. Very
well. Yard are coming into form now as well. Obviously, Joe's one of our ambassadors too. He's had a couple of winners in the last couple of weeks. That would be a quieter jump season than he might be used to, but he has knocked in a couple over the last couple of weeks since the turf season started in Ireland. Yeah,
Southern Heights looked very impressive for him at Leopardstown the other day, didn't it? So yeah, again, I think Thunder Moon's going to win. I've had some... It just still all about the weather with Thunder Moon. I think it's he ran third in the Guineas despite not liking the ground, so we already know he holds Chindit on that form. It's a little bit isn't it great? You get this banter, you get these horses that you look forward to in the Guineas, and it's good that we've got a Guineas that is so open at like because we can have this debate, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the 1000 Guineas, we've got Santa Barbara at the head of market. What else is there? Like everyone's already focused on Santa Barbara. We could get a superstar there in the 2000 Guineas.
The race is over. She's a one.
Exactly.
She's a one.
Yeah,
she's
the
bookmakers would agree, Darren, wouldn't they? Because he didn't change alcohol free at all, did they? So Santa Barbara is the hot pot in the females equivalent, Sunday, May the 2nd, but in the males, much more open and to play for, I think. I think one thing we have to agree on here, lads, is that if I Right wins this, we'll be even though none of us have put him up. Well, you've put him up. Is that the top of your 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. A horse that hasn't won this race, but has just, he's just been fantastic.
He does not know how to run
placed in a Ladbroke Trophy, placed at a Cheltenham Festival. He doesn't, absolutely. 2 from 2 at Ayr. He's a tiny horse for a chaser, I think, in compared to some of them. But Yeah, he's
Wears
got
his
a
heart on
massive
his
following.
sleeve.
Heart on his sleeve stuff, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Mighty Thunder's the same, though, isn't it? For Lucinda Russell. Second fav now, isn't it? No Scottish horse won since Merigo. 10 years ago, wasn't it? Since Merigo won, I think.
We looked that up.
In the colours of Raymond
Robson.
Anderson Green. Yeah.
Anderson Green, yeah.
Yeah, so, but he
Who wrote that?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
well, EJ McDonald. Oh, that was good fun earlier, wasn't it?
They've jumped there. Over £1 million match in the exchange before the off as well. So a very, very popular race. Probably the highest traded race of the day, I'd say.
This is the last of the Nationals, of course, quite fittingly as well, with the jump season about to finish, of course. But this is the last of Nationals. You basically have the Welsh, don't you? Then you have the Irish, then you have the English Grand National, and then we finish on the Scottish as well. So Not a Chance is interesting. I've had a tiny little bit on him as well, because don't think we should write him on his last run, basically. If he comes back to that classic chase form, he's got a good chance. On Guard, I'm seeing money for that, Darren Hughes, as well, as they get ready to go off.
Yeah, both of the two that I mentioned but didn't back have about half in price. On Guard is now 12, about 21, and same for Big River, he's 25 from 50 when we gave him the shout. Oh no, Mr. Fog Patches is actually doubled in price, now 16.5, so it could be a little bit of egg on the face after this, but we'll see how we go. We have 4 miles to work things out.
Thank you very much, Darren Hughes. Absolutely, and they are off and running to the first fence. I'll tell you what, Batch, I'm going to come to you before I name anyone. On Guard just about got over it, Mighty Thunder, but they look to be going a gallop here.
Yeah, for 4 mile, yeah, they've gone off They're soon slow it down. They can't keep this up, Dave.
They are called lemmings sometimes, jockeys, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
whoever gets out in front is going to win.
Yeah, very true. But that's it. It's all about getting positions and getting where they're comfortable. A lot of these lads have been told what they want them to do, and they have to sort of try and do that as best as their ability can take them.
Well, let's have a look at who is being ridden cold at the moment. Who's that?
Big River already dropping it.
Big River. Oh, we've lost one as well. Sam's Adventure's gone. That's one of the 3 Batch. Sam's Adventure,
Big
the Ida
River
winner.
always does this. I wouldn't put this as a negative for Big River at all. He does this all the time. He was 5th in this race 2-3 years ago, and literally the exact same thing. Miles out the back, couldn't go with them, and finished with an absolute rattle. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's a huge disadvantage to his chances.
Is it couldn't go with him or doesn't want to go with him? Though?
Well, I don't know. He's got a
one
massive
or
fan
the
club,
other.
Big River, isn't he? He's a veteran of the game, and everyone loves him. And when I spoke to Lucinda Russell on Friday, mainly about Mighty Thunder, she said, "Do not discount the old boy. He's absolutely winging them at home." So I won't do the Dave Orton, put another 0 on him just yet, because we've got a long way to go. Doing the home straight then for the first time. On Guard, then lots of money for him beforehand. Batch, is he going a bit too keen, the leader?
No, I don't think so. He seems happy on him. He's not sort of taking a pull. He's just travelling well with himself. No, I'd be happy enough with that.
Okay, the colours of Marigo, the last Scottish winner to take this, are
Jimmy
actually
Murphy
being
rode
covered
that.
up. Yeah, well, you are a fan, aren't you? In first-time cheek pieces, Claude and Goldie for Sandy Forster and Richie McClernand, a jockey that knows how to win nationals, that's for sure. He is just in about 5th spot. The Ferry Master, my top headline selection, he's up there. Soldier of Love as well. There has been a lot of love for him in the market. Look back at some of his earlier form. He's just got everything in his favour. Paul Keeley likes him, of course. Rob Lee, senior producer here, he's all over him, I think, as well. He's just got that form. And Paul Nicholls, it's a race he absolutely loves. Not a Chance is going nicely, Batch, isn't he? In around about 4th or 5th.
Yeah, travelling well, jumping well. Hope that's not a curse.
He tends to be in the studio, I've got to tell you. Lakeview Lad, he's coming up and having a little bit, isn't he? Of course, we saw him come to grief. And then, was it? It's not Lakeview Lad, is it? It is Lakeview Lad, isn't it? Of course, he felt like those guys. We weren't sure about him, of course, when he fell in the national. That's why I was just saying that. TC, who's catching your eye?
Well, it's interesting that On Guard was leading a minute ago. I took a look at the laptop, looked back up, and he's in about 10th at this stage. So I'm not sure what happened to On Guard there, but he's
He hit one and
Did
lost
he?
his place very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems to be travelling with a choke out as well in midfield. Interestingly, he was withdrawn at Cheltenham because of unsuitable good ground, but he's running here on good ground, so obviously it's not unsuitable. Coupe de Panto is travelling right out the back. Look, my eyes are drawn to him, but all of them are going well at this stage. Even Big River's going right at the back.
He's picked up the bit, has he? Okay, so let's have a look where Harry Skelton is. He's on Old Grangewood. Also, has definitely got stamina to prove, but he does like the track. Yeah, Big River has picked up the bit a little bit, hasn't he? What else we got there? Chef.
Right in
out
the middle,
back.
is it? He's in the middle of the pack, is he?
Yeah, with the stars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. I'm just looking for one. What's that just absolutely whacked that? The Dutchman, of course, for Harry Reid and Tristan Davidson, but he's taking a bit of closer order out the back. Cool Mix is there, a horse that stays well, travels well as the handicapper. Got him in his grip, we'll find out. Dingo Dollar for the first time, I say. Revitalise, not the first horse to do that for Sandy Thompson, is he? Ryan Mania was his pick. over the Ferry Master. I think we can say that. And now Ryan Mania is sensing a little bit of Scottish national history as he goes into the lead from Mr. Fog Patches, Darren, who's really travelling well in second.
Yeah, he had gone to the front there and held up. He's back out. He's 14.0 for BSP at 16.5. Soldier Love have been priced. Took a big drift before the off to about 20 to 1, and he's back into 9s now. Ayr Right holding his price 15 to 2 from a BSP of about 8.5 to 1. Dingo Dollar has been the one for money, 6.2, 5 to 1 from a BSP of about 9 to 1. Long way to go yet. Interested to see what happens, but few of them there certainly still in with plenty of chances.
This is not what we often say. It's the first mention of Ayr Right, isn't it? Batchelor usually like to sort of get on with it, but definitely being conserved for the trip then this time. How's he taking it?
He looks fine. He's just got a couple in close to a couple. I think he does like it out in front. He gets a nice sight of his fences. But listen, the races, they started off quick and it didn't suit him, so you have to...
Would that disappoint you if you're a jockey, knowing that you're riding a horse that likes one way of running and they're saying, look, we want him ridden to get home, and you're like, oh...
It is, but sometimes you have to change from plan A to plan B. It's no point trying to force him up to the front because you're never going to win a race like that. You're taking a horse out of his comfort zone. The best thing to do is keep a horse in a rhythm and where they're comfortable. That's all you can do.
Okay, and I'll tell you what, there are a few horses that have got into an absolutely lovely rhythm. One of those is Soldier of Love, who was favourite but drifted about a little bit on. Sean Bowen must be really enjoying that spin at the moment. But there's a tactical move here. Lakeview Lad and the Dutchman, they're both want to make sure that they're kept honest up front, aren't they, I think, as well. Who's that? There's some Chaos as well that's having a little bit of say of the action as well. Look for Mighty Thunder. Of course, second in the Midlands nationally. He's had 2 races, hasn't he, over the 4 miles. I think that was a slight worry with him. He's a horse that usually likes to get on with it. He's been shuffled back. Chapel's Sight for Ryan Day and Nicky Richards in the famous colours. They got 2 in here, haven't they? One's come off the bridle. Is that Chapel's Sight? It is.
One's at the back.
Tidswell in the first colours. He is going well. A horse that when he gets into a rhythm can have a big say in all the top handicaps. So how many have we got left to go, guys? This is a great question. I mean, I'm thinking we're around about halfway, but that's like playing it safe for £7, isn't it? I think we are starting to get a little bit revved up then finally here. It's been a sound gallop. That's what I'd be calling it. Where's Big River? Is he starting to pick up a bit?
He's starting to pass a few. Yeah, he's starting to pass a couple at the back, and nothing will finish better with a better rattle than him. So if he's starting to pass them at this stage, he's definitely want to keep an eye on, I'd say.
I'm watching Mr. Fog Patches throughout on the inside. His jumping just has been.
He's just come off the bridle a bit.
He's got. I tell you what, he's one handicap, isn't he? He's 129. He's got no weight on him. Danny Mullins has come over for the quarantine, isn't he? It was a great story on the site about him thinking it'd be worth it. But if he just needs to start jumping a little bit better. Sometimes, Batch, when you're on the inside, if you get a little bit crowded in that, you see them fiddling them, don't you? But he's obviously got some engine because in between the fences, he looks the winner all over.
Yeah, he's making ground in between the fences. He's just missing a couple when he gets to it. See how he jumps this.
I wonder how Ayr Right's going, Batch, because he's been shaking the reins.
Yeah, he's just come off the bridle a little bit.
Again, I wonder. Listen,
it's a long old season he's had. He just might be.
I wouldn't say he's out of it, but they are starting to stretch now. The Ferry Master, my selection's gone up into 3rd. Happy to see that at the minute because I think this is a horse that will stay. Fog Patches, basically, everywhere bar the fences looks really short. Tom Collins, where's Coup de Panso? Has he gone?
Yeah, he's about in mid-division right now in the black silk, so he's just trying to work his way through traffic.
They are turning in, and they're all off the bridle, bar the leaders. They're going for it now. Is this Dingo Dollar? Is this just the Sandy Thompson 1-2?
1-2.
The Ferry Master then. Come on, the Ferry Master. Can you outstay old Dingo Dollar, formerly with Alan King? Mr. Fog Patches hanging a little bit fire. He goes into 3rd. Who's that in 4th? That Mighty Thunder?
Yeah.
Running
Mighty
on
Thunder
4th.
fourth,
Will they collapse? They're starting to feel the pinch a little bit now. The Ferry Master, never been over this far. Up they go over 3 out. Dingo Dollar in front. Well found in the market, wasn't he? Will he start paddling? Is Mighty Thunder out of this? Mr. Fog Patches, between these 4 by the looks of it. Ayr Right staying on late, too late, I think. Ferry Master now falling in a hole as Dingo Dollar goes clear. They're going to have to sprout wings back, aren't they?
Oh, I don't know, it's not over.
Here comes.
Mighty Thunder for Lucinda Russell. Could this be it? Dingo Dollar idling in front. Up he goes. Mighty Thunder had a bit of a think about it. Will he get there on the line? Tom Scudamore, well, this is going to see another Scottish winner of the National. Off he goes, Mighty Thunder. Scoo didn't work out on cloth cap, did it? But he's timed into absolute perfection. Lucinda Russell, 1 for Arthur, takes out the Scottish National. A glaring omission on the leading National Hunt trainer north of the border. Was not on her CV. Tick. In we go. Absolutely fantastic. There will be Ullery Stables will be absolutely alight tonight. Peter Scudamore, his son Tom goes and does it. Absolutely brilliant. If you're on Dingo Dollar, Ryan Mania must have thought he had it all the way by the last match.
Yes, he was just, I don't know, he sort of jumped the last, and I think Ryan was thinking he was praying for the line, because you could see his stride was shortening, and so it's good for Scoo, but who was supposed to ride it? You'd be a little bit disappointed.
Derek Campbell.
Yeah.
Derek Campbell, yeah. He didn't get past the doctor. I think he was just a bit too weak too early. So, yeah, it's good for Lucinda, good for Scoo, but I feel sorry for Campbell a little bit. But
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
that's racing, unfortunately, boys.
Well, absolutely, and I don't know. I think if you're Sandy Thompson now, you're looking at your two jockeys basically, and you're thinking, "Hang on, you're going hammer and tongs." Because the Ferrymaster went right up size, didn't he? Made Ryan Mania go. I don't know. He's fallen in a bit of hole. That probably, in fact, he has kept on, hasn't he? Just at the one base. See why the cheek pieces went on. TC, that was some spectacle, wasn't it?
Yeah, really unfortunate for Dingo Dollar. Led virtually every yard until the line. Just worried about the tack on Mr. Fog Patches. The saddle cloth seemed to move back there, if you backed him each way. And also, I think Dino Boy just collapsed after the line, so I hope he's all right. Everyone was rushing to his attention. So.
Okay.
You know what, Dingo Dollars, I think he probably just spent a bit too much in front, because when the winner went past, he's started picking up again. He ain't got to beat that far. He's
Yeah,
Yeah, he's been half length, yeah.
It looked like he was idling a little bit, didn't it? But I don't know. It was a very, very good ride on the winner, because Mighty Thunder, it is for that horse from the Midlands National. He's a horse that, when he won the Edinburgh National, he was up there throughout. His horse that's like to make it. So that was a plan B, I think, there. And Tom Scudamore, absolute to perfection. Last week, he'd been on the floor, wouldn't he, about cloth cap?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it just shows you what a difference a week in racing can make. They will be thrilled with that. Congratulations to a Scottish winner of the Scottish Grand National. Fantastic.
National, yeah, Jesus, great, actually. Fair play to them, that's brilliant.
I'll tell you what, that's very gracious of you, patriotic dads we should be calling there. Mr. Fog Patches, you went for the Irish run. He's run very well, hasn't he, Darren?
He's run grand. He's just not probably up to that level. Like, that's grade 3. He got in there off bottom weight, 10 stone, like even including the mandatory few pound penalty that the English handicapper seems to give the Irish horses. But he's running fine. I don't know. Tom made a point there. Did something fall off his tack or something? He might have an issue weighing in. So hopefully that doesn't affect his getting paid out in the place part of it. But he's run fine. The winners were good. For Dingo Dollar done at a low of 1-5 in the run for about 800 quid. Very master match at 1-2 as well. So with some in running carnage there, fingers burnt. But interesting race. Very, very enjoyable, I have to say.
Very enjoyable, as the whole afternoon has been. Thank you, Darren Hughes from Betfair. Hughesy, we'll have you back on soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Myself and Barry will work out the schedule. Mark is there as well, so I hope you see us in the not too distant future.
Brilliant stuff.
Hopefully in a shirt.
Hopefully with a collar on. That's it. He's like, hang on, boys, I'm still in lockdown. I'm wearing the old pyjamas still. It's all right for you lot over here.
For Royal Ascot, Matty, I'll wear a top hat.
Oh, there you go. I'll tell you what, if a top hat gets on that head of hair, it'll be absolutely amazing. Great to have Darren Hughes on Batch. Good to have you back in the studio as ever. We've enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah, thoroughly.
Highlight All Mankind.
All Mankind, yeah. I was very bullish on it and it paid off, yeah.
Yeah, lovely. TC, Nugget all the way, does go for the Hunt Cup, by the way. I've seen a quote come in.
Nice, yeah, Nugget chinned it. 2 good winners on the day. I quickly fire 2 American horses at you for this evening. No explanation. If you want explanation, on my Twitter, Altaf in the 8.59 at Aqueduct, and then Cali Bay in the 11.49 at Santa Anita.
We were hoping his Duracells ran out then, weren't we?
I'm getting on his Twitter.
I'll tell you what, though, he's a progressive man, Tom Collins. That would have taken 10 minutes beforehand, but let me tell you, he's getting the gig. He showed he can fill in for me as well. I've been Dave Orton, signing off then on Racing Post Live. Thanks for watching us. We'll see you next week for the big one at Sandown.